Last night, Sean was the green giant for the Mets. An 11th inning game-winning home run. Gomez was the top Carlos on the block as the Mets beat the Cardinals for the 4th straight time. Which Carlos will be the hero tonight? Willie Randolph will join us for an in-game live interview. At Shea Stadium in New York, the New York Mets play the St. Louis Cardinals. This Mets game on SNY is presented in high definition by IO Digital Cable, the leader in HD. Do you see in HD? Adam Plutz, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Shea Stadium. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets play the second of their 4-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Last night, the Mets had only 3 hits in 11 innings and won the game. No team in the major leagues had done that in 13 years, and the reason they won it was because Shawn Green had 2 big swings in him in the 11th inning.
Well, it was a rarity. He hit a home run foul the pitch prior, and then he came back with a Coors Light blast here with the game winner, and this was off the scoreboard, a bomb. Now remember, Shawn had the horrible spring training. A lot of questions around his spring, whether he was finished. He's hitting .290, 7 home runs, 27 RBI. And remember, he missed 2 weeks with the fractured foot, so that probably would factor into around 40 RBIs right now if he wasn't hurt. So he's been kind of the silent contributor to this team.
And when did it become fashionable to beat your teammates up after a game-winning home run? Meanwhile, Oliver Perez takes the mound for the Mets tonight. First time he'll face the Cardinals since his unbelievable performance in Game 7 in the LCS last year.
Yeah, I think that was a real growing thing for Oliver Perez. He struggled through a really tough year last year, ERA in the high 6s, but came through in Game 7, only gave up 1 run and 4 hits and 6 innings of work. Did a great job against Albert Pujols, in fact, and that entire series held him 0 for 5 in 2 starts.
And Todd Wellemeyer will go for the St. Louis Cardinals. He was pitching for Kansas City earlier this year. They let him go on waivers, and all of a sudden he's in the starting rotation for the World Champs.
Yeah, he's been waived a couple of times in his career, and the reason he's pitching is because Chris Carpenter, their ace, is not back yet. They hope to get him back by the end of July. So right now, La Russa and Duncan for the Cardinals just trying to put a patchwork staff together to try to stay afloat till the All-Star break.
And the Mets will try and take full advantage tonight, try for their 5th straight win as they get ready for the Phillies coming up this weekend. It's the Mets and Cards from Shea. All the action on SNY. On a hot night at Shea, here's your forward lineup for the Cardinals. Scott Spiezio moved up to the 2-hole. Ryan Ludwig gets a start in left field. Kelly Stinnett, who spent some time with the Mets last year, behind the plate. Brendan Ryan, a rookie, playing second base. It is a patchwork lineup at best and an all right-hand hitting lineup for the Cardinals tonight against Oliver Perez.
Well, Perez facing the Cardinals. The last time he faced them was that October 19th night, 7th game of the NLCS, where he only gave up a run in 6 innings. And I really believe that was a big part of his maturation process. 3-13 last year with a 6.5 ERA. He was trusted with that game, and he's shown it this year as he's improved mightily from last year.
And the Lexus defense for the Mets, the same cast of characters: Delgado, Valentin, Reyes, Wright, LaDuca behind the plate. He is still going to challenge that suspension. Gomez, Beltran, and Green in the outfield.
Oliver Perez trying to bounce back from a tough start against the Twins last Wednesday, so Taguchi leads off and attacks the first pitch. 0-1. Taguchi riding a 17-game hitting streak right now, the longest of his career, filling in center field for the injured Jim Edmonds.
Well, you can see he's been a hot hitter.
1-1 to Taguchi, with Scott Spiezio hitting second in the order tonight and Albert Pujols behind him. And Perez misses high with a fastball.
Yeah, and once again, Gary, Scott Rowland, the all-star third baseman, out of the lineup. He's really got to be hurt with all the injuries to this ball club. For him to be out of the lineup, he's got to be hurt.
Well, more than half of the Cardinals' regular lineup is out. Eckstein and Molina and Edmonds and Rowland all sitting on the sidelines, and it makes it awfully tough for Tony La Russa to put together an offensive powerhouse. A forlorn Rowland fan as Taguchi lifts it toward the left field corner, but over goes Gomez, and that's the first out. So 1 out and nobody on. And here is Scott Spiezio.
Number 26, Scott Spiezio.
Spiezio 0 for 4 in the game last night. And he was a target at third base, wasn't he?
He was.
Well, he made all the plays last night. He played it like he's an old veteran there. Not his natural position.
He has started at 6 different positions this year, and he attacks the first pitch. And this is interesting. Oliver Perez, among National League starters, is 5th from the bottom in throwing first pitch strikes. And both the Cardinal hitters so far have gone after the first pitch.
Well, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Usually the Roosters teams are kind of teams that try to work deeper into the count, and with the way that Perez has been walking hitters 2 of his last 3 starts, he's had 5 walks in the ball game. You think you might want to make him throw. He's proved that he can throw strikes with regularity.
Well, during that 1-3 stretch, Ronnie, he's had 24 2/3 innings with 16 walks, and that's a concern because that has been his problem in the past, his control.
Well, the walks really hurt him against the Twins. Justin Morneau burned him with a triple. Torrey Hunter a 2-run homer after walks, and Spiezio lines one down the left field line. Gomez over, slides to cut it off, but Spiezio will go to second as Gomez couldn't handle it cleanly, and it's a 1-out double for Scott Spiezio. Quite an effort by Gomez to try and prevent the double.
Well, it's a hanging slider right there that was flattened out and stayed up at the belt level, right out over the inside part of the plate. And okay, fine, nice hustle, he got there. Still a double. Nice slide.
Pop up.
So here's Pujols, 1 for 4 last night. His lifetime regular season numbers against Perez are very good, but 0 for 5 in the LCS against Oliver last year. And a fastball in for a strike came right after him, and Pujols does not often swing at the first pitch. He has swung at 8% of first pitches this year.
Well, I'll tell you this, the more confident and better hitter you are, less apt you are to swing at first pitch, unless there's ducks on the pond. Then you have to watch out for those good hitters.
Oh, fastball running inside. It's 0-2.
All right, he threw this one right by him, which is not an easy task.
But if you're a guy who's known for always taking the first pitch as a pitcher, don't you do what Perez just did, just throw a fastball down the middle?
You do, but you have to watch when guys are on base, because the real good hitters, once they get to that second, third at bat, then they'll jump on that first pitch.
Reaches for the fastball and fouls it back.
And I ran into Albert after the game under the tunnel. He was coming back from the weight room, and he stopped and chatted with him a little bit, and he mentioned how he's not feeling great at the plate, a little out in front, starting too quick, and you can see right there that last swing that he's striding too quick, and that gets you out in front.
Perez ahead 0-2, and it's popped up foul, backing out of play. Surprising thing about Pujols last night was the 2 errors that he made. This guy won a Gold Glove last year. First Cardinal first baseman since a guy named Hernandez to win a Gold Glove.
You know, he might have made a couple errors, but I'll tell you, he picked a couple in the dirt from Spiezio, who's throwing 1-hoppers over there all night.
Well, he's almost out of the box, isn't he, Ronnie?
Yeah, they don't count that.
Just inside, 1-2.
Well, their hitters are so spread open today, a wide stance. So watch Pujols, how his feet are so far apart. Everything is so much now they're taught this for balance, I know, but you got to have so much upper body strength to get away with that. Dave Kingman hit that way, very widespread, but Kingman was very wiry and was tremendously strong from the waist up, and that's why that is a far apart stance right there.
On 1-2, Pujols takes the fastball outside. It's 2-2.
The theory behind that was, when I was always taught was, and I had my feet apart shoulder width, was that you'd lose your rotation in your hips. But a lot of hitters today, it's all upper body. They're kind of taking their lower body out of it.
And Pujols smacks one deep to right center. Beltran on the run, and he tracks it down right before the wall. Tagging at second is Spiezio. He goes on to third, but Beltran with a nice running play to take an extra base hit away from Pujols for the second out.
Well, good at bat for Pujols here, and We'll give you the pitch sequence. First pitch is a fastball, inner half, belt high, 0-1. Threw a fastball by him in. Fought off a fastball away. Fought off a slider down and in. Fastball in, just missed. Fastball away, 2-2. Fastball out over the plate, up, good pitch to hit. And just not quite enough.
So Perez wins that battle. Spezio at third with 2 out, and Juan Encarnacion hitting cleanup tonight against the left-hander. Encarnacion drives one to right center, and another long run for Beltran, and he won't get this one as it hops on the warning track. Spezio in to score. Encarnacion to second with an RBI double, and the Cardinals grab a 1-0 lead.
Well, Gary, first ball hitting again. Juan Encarnacion, what a nice name. Means carnation in Spanish. Fastball out over the plate, belt high, going the other way with it.
Perez will be sending him no flowers, I'm certain.
And Beltran obviously just can't get to it. Hit too hard and too much in the gap.
So 2 doubles produce a run for the Cardinals in the opening inning. And now Ryan Ludwig, and he swings and fouls off the slider. Ludwig, who was called up from AAA Memphis in early May, he was hitting .340 in the minors, starting his 16th game for the Cardinals, who have been so banged up. It's given opportunities to a lot of fringe players.
Well, brings up memories of the Wally Pipp. Took the what he was. They say the story of that he was really hurt, and Lou Gehrig stepped in, and that was it.
I thought he had a headache. Isn't the
I heard that it was. I heard that was the exaggeration of the story. I could be wrong. That there was other things besides the headache, and of course Lou Gehrig. He never saw the lineup again.
Well, so far Ludwig is not making like Gehrig, hitting a .241, and he's not a rookie either. He's 28 years old. He's kicked around Texas, Cleveland, originally drafted by Oakland. 1-2 from Perez, up and away.
Well, you know, of his 21 hits, 9 of them were extra base hits, 4 home runs, 2 of them were game winners. It's one of those things where a guy comes over from the other league, the pitchers don't know him first time through. You can kind of sneak attack him.
Billy Wagner struck him out in a pinch hitting assignment last night, and he fouls off the slider. Ryan Ludwig's brother pitched in the big leagues back in the mid-90s. Eric Ludwig was with the Marlins.
Had a pretty good cut on that slider. You know, they always say some hitters have slider speed bat. I think Ludwig, one of those guys, you have to rush him inside, up and in with a fastball. Pretty good cut there.
Comes with a fastball, and he's down swinging to end the inning. So Perez picks up his first strikeout, but the Cardinals get a first inning run. Encarnacion with an RBI double, and the Mets will try to attack Wellemeyer in the bottom of the first. Here's your Geico Mets lineup tonight. Paul LaDuca back in the number 2 hole after hitting 6th last night. Sean Green, second career walk-off home run last night. Carlos Gomez gets another start in left field, this one against a right-hander, as Willie Randolph continues to show confidence in the 21-year-old.
Well, Todd Wellemeyer getting the start. He was waived from the Royals on May 15th. He had 119 relief appearances in a row before he started for the Cardinals on May 30th. This is his 6th career Major League start.
And Jose Reyes takes a strike. Mets have seen Wellemeyer before with the Cubs and with the Marlins. He's had 3 career relief outings against the Mets. Reyes at 0 for last night. It's been a rarity lately. Whereas most Mets had 0 for last night as Reyes pops one foul. The Mets had only 3 hits. Home runs by Gomez and Green accounting for the runs. It was the first time that a team had gotten 3 hits in a game lasting 11 innings or more and won in the big leagues in 15 years. And it was only the 3rd time in Mets history it had happened. Back in 1965, Cincinnati's Jim Maloney threw 10 hitless innings against the Mets. Johnny Lewis had a homer in the 11th. There was another hit in there, and the Mets won in 11. Reyes chops one over Spezio's head, a base hit. So Reyes hitting down on the ball, and he's aboard to lead off the bottom of the first.
Well, there's the advantage of speed. Forces Spezio to play in, to respect his bunting ability, and what happens? The old Baltimore chop over his head. And nothing Spezio can do here. And the Rico defense for the Cardinals. Pujols, Miles, Ryan gets to start at short. Spezio at third again. Sinet gets to start behind the plate. Ludwig, Taguchi, Encarnacion round out the outfield.
Well, here's Loduca, and it's been a struggle for Paul at the plate the last few days. Just 1 for his last 17. And that average, as you see, down to 282. See if Reyes tries to go quickly as Loduca takes a strike. Kelly Stinnett behind the plate for the Cardinals tonight, and with anybody other than Molina back there, it's been awfully tough for the Cardinals to control the running game. Whereas Mike Maroth last night had that great move, and that negated it by himself.
The old equalizer.
Loduca lays off the slider, and it's 1-1.
And that's something that my colleague right here had, one of the best right-handed moves in the game I've ever in my 17 years. Ronnie's right there at the top 5 of the finest, quickest move to first base by a right-hander. You and Joaquin Andujar.
Ooh.
One tough Dominican.
Yes.
Reyes with 38 steals, and Wellmeyer throws over.
You know, one of the reasons that it's pretty difficult or guys don't hold runners on as well now is because the managers control the running game. So they tell them when to throw over, when to step off, when to slide step. So a lot of pitchers nowadays don't have a good feel for the running game. They don't know when they should go over. They don't know when the runner's off a half step more.
Loduca takes the fastball wide, and it's 2-1. Wellmeyer throwing hard. Fastball at 93.
Can't fall behind. John Denny had a great move to first base too. The former Cardinal, Philly, and Cincinnati Red pitcher. Cy Young with the Phillies.
Yeah, 83, right?
He had a terrific move to first.
Todd Wellmeyer, 28 years old, out of Bellarmine College in Kentucky. Not your classic baseball power. Reyes runs, got a huge jump. Loduca trickles it. Wellmeyer can't field it cleanly, but still has time to throw out Loduca. Well, Reyes had an enormous jump, but Loduca took the cut, and that advances Reyes to second.
Well, look at this, almost 5.5 steps. Loduca got a slider, just got it right off the end of the bat. And after initially bobbling it, of course, when Loduca running, has plenty of time to make that throw.
Keith, as a hitter, can you see when a runner at first gets that big a jump and maybe not swing?
As a left-hand hitter, no, because my back's to first base. Now, a right-hander, you'd have to ask a right-hand hitter. I never was bothered by anybody stealing second base because my back was to the base. I never saw my concentration was never disrupted my concentration.
So Reyes at second with 1 out. Now Carlos Beltran. You see Miles, the shortstop, trying to keep Reyes close to the bag. Beltran rips one down the right field line, and that'll bring Reyes home and tie up the game. Beltran on his way to second as Encarnacion plays the carom. It's an RBI double for Carlos Beltran, and the Mets get that run right back.
Well, the Mets say the Cardinals want a first ball fastball hit. Well, there's a sinker right there that didn't get out enough. And Carlos rips it into right field. That's his 44th RBI of the season. And Reyes, of course, he only knows one speed. Oh, he slowed up. I don't believe it. And there's that beautiful gate of Beltran's.
So the game is even. Reyes' 53rd run scored of the year. Came into the night tied for 4th in the league. And here's Wright, who takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, Gary, which Carlos will be the hero tonight? Beltran's up 1.
It's quite a competition these days, especially with Gomez pitching in more and more every day. David lays off the slider, and it's 1-1.
Good eye by David there.
If you were with us last night, you saw after Wright got picked off by Mike Maroth, he and Willie Randolph in a rather lengthy discussion or discussions in the following couple of innings. was fascinated by that, and I talked to David about it today to find out exactly what it was about. You know, he said it was not about getting picked off at all, but the fact that Willie was talking to him about the situation in which he wants him to run and situations he doesn't want him to run. It was a 1-0 count to Shawn Green, and Willie felt that Wright needed to let Green get a pitch in that spot. Lifts this one to right field, pretty deep. Encarnacion has room though. Beltran tagging at second, and he'll move over. That's the second out.
You know, Gary, to add on there too, you know, Willie was such a smart player when he played the majority of his career with the Yankees and hitting that number 2 position where he was a hit and run guy. Willie was a very sharp, smart player, knew when to steal a base. It's such a wealth of information coming from Willie, and Willie likes to tutor, and that's nothing but good. Your manager has to communicate what he wants from his players.
And you remember when David went back to him later? David, the thing that he brought to Willie at that point, he said, by the way, I thought I saw Gary Bennett, the catcher, give a sign for an inside fastball. As Carlos Delgado takes a strike, indicating that there was not a throw to first called from the bench.
And usually that's a good idea, except with a guy like Marath, who has a great move to first base. Left-hander, everything's in front of him so he can see.
Delgado hits one in the air to right center field. That's pretty well hit. Encarnacion back. And right at the 371 mark, he's got it. So Wright and Delgado giving a couple of balls some deep rides to right field. But the Mets settle for 1 run as Reyes chops a base hit, advances on a ground out, and scores on the Beltran double to tie up the game. Weekday afternoons between 4 and 6. Log on to CW11.com for live traffic updates from the CW11's Commuter Cast. Check with Commuter Cast before you hit the road to find the fastest way home or the easiest way to Shea. Aaron Miles leads off the second inning against Oliver Perez and takes the fastball high. Miles has been swinging the bat well lately. 12 for 24 in his last 5 games. Filling in for the injured David Eckstein at shortstop. Eckstein's got a back problem that doesn't seem to want to go away. One and 2 to Miles. There's Eckstein, and you know it's got to be killing him to sit still.
Tony La Russa said toughest player he's ever managed.
Really?
Yeah.
Miles slaps one foul. Well, Miles had a key at bat line last night's ball game with runners on second and third and 1 out late to give the chance to give the Cardinals the lead that if he had gotten a sacrifice fly it would have held up, but he struck out. Lifts this one to shallow right center, and Beltran is there. 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on for Oliver Perez. Well, last year, Oliver Perez, probably the most unlikely Game 7 starter in history. 3 and 13 during the regular season. But after pitching 6 innings and allowing just 1 run with some help from Andy Chavez, it seems to have elevated his entire career going forward.
Well, I think that Rick Peterson has had a lot to do with getting Perez back on track and getting his focus on his one single point of release.
Kelly Stinnett, the batter, and that slow curve fouled off, and it's 0-2.
Well, Oliver's been watching El Duque a little, maybe changing speeds on that breaking pitch.
That's probably the slowest we've seen him throw, 170 miles an hour. Kelly Stinnett spent some time with both the Mets and the Yankees last year. He was in the Dodgers organization this year when the Cardinals had an emergency when Molina got hurt. And the slider in there for a call, strike 3. This backdoor move by Perez, that's his second strikeout.
Well, he had the slow one, and then when you watch him hold that slider, he gets that nice tilt on it, starts it in the left-hander's batter's box, and just darts that on the outside corner. What happens to the batter on those, Keith? Correct me if I'm wrong. So you kind of give up on it. It starts off the plate, give up on it, and it makes that late tail over the plate.
The old backdoor slider gets you to quit on it.
Brendan Ryan, the rookie second baseman, and he takes ball one.
And particularly the better the slider, the later the break, which is the tighter the slider, as we say in our baseball jargon. It's almost to the point of hitting it, and it breaks in at the last minute. And your tendency is to quit.
There's another one of those slow breaking balls, and it's 2-0 to Ryan. There's a strike. Ryan's had just 19 big league at bats and no power at all. He was considered, though, the Cardinals' best prospect a couple of years ago until he missed almost all of last season with a wrist injury. And Perez misses inside with a fastball. This is not a guy you want to be walking. It's 3-1. You got the pitcher Wellemeyer on deck.
He's got my old number. They're giving him the pitchers now. It really upsets me.
I saw somebody with a Keith Hernandez 37 Cardinal jersey in the stands.
The powder blues.
There's ball four, and that's one of those walks that just makes you shake your head with Oliver Perez.
Well, Rick Peterson writing in his notebook.
I mean, instead of having Wellemeyer leading off the next inning, he walks a kid who's had 19 big league at bats and has no power at all. And now instead they'll clear the pitcher spot for the next inning.
There it is.
Should be hanging on a wall somewhere.
I have it at home.
I didn't mean your wall.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, see, they retired my number.
Apologies to Casey Stengel. You didn't want that number when you came to the Mets anyway, didn't you?
I was happy to get 17.
You
wasn't never really happy with 37.
You wanted 7.
I would never wear 7 because I was never as good as even close to Mickey Mantle.
I thought you were going to say you weren't as good as Ed Kranepool.
So 17 was, no, it was all about Mickey Mantle. It was all about Mickey Mantle.
0-2 to Wellemeyer. And he fouls it away.
You know, you were talking about walking Ryan, and now you have to pitch to the pitcher. One of the tricks you can play with yourself as a pitcher, especially starting pitcher, when you're facing the 8th place hitter, he's not a good hitter, say to yourself, I only have 2 balls. I don't have 3. I can't go to 3 balls on this. I can't go to 3 balls on this hitter.
You throw 3 balls at once?
No, but no, you just don't want to go to a 3-2 count. That once it gets to 2-2, you can't go any further than that.
Well, he's ahead on the pitcher Wellemeyer 0-2. Wellemeyer has 2 hits in his career. Oh, and LaDuca caught that one. Life as a catcher. That'll make you want to take your suspension.
Well, he caught one last night, too, up on his clavicle, if we recall. And this, oh,
that's
gosh,
right off the bicep.
Off the bicep. Same side. Well,
you wonder how a catcher ever gets a hit.
Lots of ice.
This is last night.
Oh, that hurts. That one hurt more than the bicep, but the bicep, I guarantee you, hurts mightily.
He can empathize. And the slider in for a call, 3rd strike. Wellemeyer down looking. 3 strikeouts for Perez, but he'll kick himself about that 2-out walk to Ryan. 1-1 game as we go to the bottom of the 2nd. We go to the bottom of the 2nd at Shea. Mets and Cardinals even. Tony La Russa won the World Championship with the Cardinals last year. Not very easy to repeat, especially if you only won 83 games the first time around.
But doesn't it tell you that you might be struggling this year again? But if they make one run at it, they got to still have a chance to be in it. I mean, Milwaukee's played the best baseball, but
they had a much better pitching staff last year than they have this year.
Well,
I mean, they're missing Carpenter, but you know they lost Suppan, and
Weaver pitched well
went to Seattle's having a miserable year. Pitched great for him.
But they made the conscious decision to let those guys walk away because they felt as though Wainwright would be better suited to be a starter. There's Sean Green, last night's hero, and he takes a strike.
I got to believe, too, with Suppan, it was a matter of dollars, too. I mean, he was a free agent. He got a big contract with Milwaukee.
I mean, they have Anthony Reyes, who pitched that great game in the World Series last year.
Reyes is 0-9 this year.
We'll see him tomorrow night.
And I think they thought Kip Wells was going to have a better season than he's had. He has struggled.
Braden Looper, who became a starter for the first time this year. He's got some shoulder issues, but he's supposed to be back next week. Green fouls off the breaking ball. But the whole thing revolves around Carpenter. I mean, they lost him after his opening night start against the Mets, and you just can't replace a guy like that. Yeah. Look at the standings. The Cardinals now 9.5 behind.
Boy, Cincinnati, you're behind the Pirates. They're probably getting hammered back in Ohio in the press there.
I don't think anybody's paying attention to anything except Junior's home runs in Cincinnati.
Yes. What a year he's having.
It's the worst record in baseball, the Cincinnati Reds. 29 wins.
No pitching. 1-2 to Green. Struck him out. Wellmeyer fans Green. That's his first strikeout.
Well, a good changeup by Wellmeyer. See all 4 fingers on it. Circle change with the grip. And that's a good one. Started right down the middle. And
so a circle change can be with all 4 fingers?
Yeah, you have all 4 fingers on it. And then at the very end, he moves both his forefinger and thumb together at the end. So he holds it like a rock and then moves them together
and
late.
that gets the sink action.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll say Valentin takes a fastball for a strike.
Why don't we show the folks that, Ronnie? That's interesting. These things always fascinate me, that how these little intricacies these pitchers have to do, and they command that pitch. And it's a science. It's just amazing to me.
So you can see his forefinger and thumb are almost crossing before he releases that ball.
That's the circle you're talking about. Hit slowly and foul by Valentin.
Well, the key for him, Keith, is that he crosses his forefinger and thumb. So what happens is that takes all the weight on the ball over to this side.
Right.
So when it comes out of your fingers, all this weight makes it go this way quickly, and that's why he gets that kind of action going down and away.
Valentin pops one up. Miles retreating, and that's the second out. Now, when you release that ball, what finger touches the ball last?
Probably your middle finger, because it's the longest. But what you want to do is that right here is when you're starting to turn it over a little bit, and you're releasing it from the inside out. Instead of a slider, you'd be on top of the ball on the outside of the ball. This time you're on top of the ball on the inside of the ball. That's how you get the movement away from the hitter.
So your index finger really isn't on the ball, it's on the side.
Yes, on the side of the ball. You going to work on your change tonight, Gary?
I don't even have a fastball to change off. Carlos Gomez takes ball 1. I mean, isn't that what you always say about Modi? It's not a changeup unless you have a fastball.
That's right, because now you're not changing from anything.
Gomez takes the slider, and it's 2-0. There's Moda, who's been throwing his fastball more lately and with good results. Now he just has to get some sleep. After Perez walked the number 8 hitter with 2 out. Now Wellmeyer behind Gomez, who's a little more of a threat than Ryan. But same situation with 2 out and nobody on. And he walked him on 4 pitches. So that'll clear the pitcher spot for the Mets. First walk given up by Wellmeyer. Check out the upcoming schedule. 2 more with the Cardinals the next 2 nights. Then the 11-game road trip leading up to the All-Star break, starting with a day-night doubleheader at Citizens Bank Park on Friday night. 4 with the Phillies, 3 with the Rockies, 4 with the Astros leading up to the break. Remember, all Mets home games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IO Digital Cable. Do you see in HD? Barris has swung the bat well this year. He's hitting .269, has 7 hits. Think about running with the pitcher up. You ever do that even if you have a good jump?
I would have the hold sign on right now.
Yeah.
Just not take a chance. You want Jose Reyes leading off. You got a lot of baseball game left. You want Reyes leading off the next inning.
If you're lucky enough for the pitcher, Perez, who's done a nice job of hitting this year, if he gets a base hit, you got Reyes up with some RBIs out there.
It's showing bunt, and it's 2-0. So Wellmeyer has thrown 6 in a row out of the strike zone. I think Oliver feels he's just brought Spezio in a step at third, and he's going to hit it by him, like Maroth did last night. Taking all the way, it's 2-1.
Well, Oliver's school of hitting is that you can just eliminate right field. He just hits everything to left field, to the left side of the ballpark.
A lot like Glavine, and he stays level and he slaps the ball the other way. He's a threat up there. Ooh, that was a little tardy. Dial it up a notch. This got thrown right by him. You see Oliver wince on his follow through. He knows he's a little late.
Had the uppercut going there. On 2-2, Perez goes down swinging, and that ends the inning. So second strikeout for Wellemeyer, but the Mets clear the pitcher's spot. We'll have Reyes leading off the next inning. Taguchi up to bat for the Cardinals as we go to the third. Time for the Toyota text poll of the game. Tonight's question: do you think the All-Star game should determine home field advantage for the World Series? A for yes and B for no. Text your response to 57508 or visit snytv.tv to enter. Remember, stay tuned for the results later in tonight's game.
Hey, that's pretty cool. Once in a while I see someone I know. That's Brad, the head chef at the Station Restaurant in Mountain Lakes, New Jersey. I used to have a country house out there when I played.
How's the restaurant?
Good. Great stuff. Great food.
I never had a country house when I played.
I didn't really have a country house either. I paid for it. My family went to it.
That's exactly right. So Taguchi leading off the third, and he drives one to right center field. Green getting over in the gap, and he makes the catch. So 1 out and nobody on.
Well, Beltran shading Taguchi to right field, but Green ranges over and makes the play.
You didn't have the country house, but you had the posh apartment conveniently located in Midtown Manhattan.
It was conveniently located to the Midtown Tunnel. Get my fanny out to Shea Stadium.
Spezio doubled and scored in the first inning, and he takes the slider for a strike.
Second Avenue and 49th, no longer there.
Second Avenue and 49th Street is no longer there?
No, I'm no longer there.
Thought there was some news I'd missed. 1-1 to Spezio. Popped up, and that should stay in play for Delgado. 2 out. So 2 out and nobody on. Albert Pujols coming up. By the way, stay with us after this half inning. Willie Randolph will join us live from the Mets dugout between innings. Spend a few minutes with us. A rare opportunity to talk to the manager live during the game. Here's Pujols, who fly deep to center his first time up. And he takes a strike. Albert recently played his 1,000th career game. 330 lifetime average, 266 home runs through 1,000 games. Only 2 other players in history have put up those kinds of numbers through their first 1,000 games. Babe Ruth and Alex Rodriguez. And that's it. 300 batting average and that many, over 250 home runs through 1,000 games.
Incredible.
2-1, and you look at his numbers now. He's hitting 300, 16 homers, 48 RBIs, and you say he's having a bad year. But only for him. On the inside corner, and it's 2-2.
I don't know about the RBIs this year because I don't know how much offense they're going to have, the Cardinals, this year. He might be down a little bit in that area, but he'll have 35 to 40 home runs by the time the season's done.
2-2 to Pujols. Just missed the inside corner with that fastball, and it's 3-2.
Well, fastball inside, just misses. See it right on the line of the batter's box.
Wastes that one away.
Well, just barely got a piece of that. It's interesting. Pujols has only had 10 intentional walks this year with all the injuries.
That's a split finger there by Perez. Good one on 3-2.
So Pujols point to his helmet,
Yeah.
telling himself to lay off that pitch. Pulled foul.
The scouts are here in full force.
Well, more scouts over the next 5 weeks than at any other time of the year, with the trading deadline due on July 31st.
And there's a World Series ring right there.
3-2 to Pujols. Slow curve hit down the right field line, dunked into the corner, fair ball. And Pujols has himself a 2-out double. Well, Perez tried that slower breaking ball, but Pujols got a hold of it, poked it the other way into the corner.
Well, he got it up here, and this is good hitting too. Pujols is a little out in front. Look, he's reaching for it, but look how his bat stays level. All you kids out there, that's a level plane right there, and that's why he hit a line drive. He's out in front, but he kept his hands back and just let go with one hand and stayed level. And look at his power. Short hops the right field wall.
So here's Encarnacion, and first pitch swinging again. And Perez started him off with a slider.
Oh, my wife texted me and all over me. She speaks fluent Spanish. The name does not mean carnation. It means
No?
incarnation.
Oh, like reincarnation.
Yes.
That's
in the religious sense.
Never mind.
Sorry, honey.
Encarnacion.
All you Spanish fans out there, I'm very sorry for butchering your beautiful language.
Well, maybe he'll be a flower in his next life. Popped up. Long run for Green toward the line. Has plenty of room. Makes the catch. Side retired. So Perez works around the 2-out double by Pujols and keeps the game tied 1-1. As we head for the bottom of the third here at Shea, as Todd Wellemeyer takes the mound. Mets will have the top of the batting order coming up against Wellemeyer. And we hope to be joined momentarily by Willie Randolph from the Mets dugout.
Get ready to test your television IQ as New York Carpenters presents Name That TV Tune. See if you can correctly identify tonight's mystery show. We'll play 3 seconds of a theme song and provide.
Well, I see him now. They're just calling him over. The A2s who are in charge of the audio here.
Well, Willie Randolph joins us from the Mets dugout. Willie, thanks for joining us. You know, you guys have won 4 straight after that 3-13 stretch. Your public demeanor through the down period remained absolutely perfectly calm. Is there a part of you behind the scenes that was not quite as calm during the losing time?
No, especially when we were losing, and that was a tough stretch for us. But you know, I know how to, you know, let it go, and you know how to keep my cool, because I've been through it so many times. But yeah, anytime you're going through a tough time, you have to stay steady. You have to believe in your people and know that they're going to come out of it. So there were times where, you know, I was a little bit frustrated for the guys, but I knew we would get ourselves together.
Willie, with the season offensively, with Valentin out and Alou, then Sean Green went down. Delgado struggling mightily all year. Would you think you'd be in this position now, still in first place, with your teams really struggling offensively?
Well, you know, our bench has done a great job for us, you know, most of the year, and you know, you can only go to that well, you know, so long. But I still felt like, you know, again, we had a nice enough cushion early on, so we were able to go through some tough times and still weather the storm. But you know, that's why you get off to a good start, because you got to be able to, you know, go through those stretches where you don't do what you want to do sometimes. But no, I'm not really surprised though, guys, because you know our guys feel good about being on this club and contributing and being a part of it. So when we got a chance to play, they usually get after pretty good for me.
All right, Willie. Well, thank you very much for spending a few minutes with us.
Okay, guys.
All right, Willie Randolph from the Mets dugout. The SNY sights and sounds of the game presented by Hummer like nothing else. Jose Reyes flying out to left on the first pitch of the bottom of the third. Willie did tell a story on himself today. He said while the Mets were in L.A. and they were getting swept in that series at Dodger Stadium, there was a moment when he did pick up a chair, did throw it, and did put a hole in a door with said chair. So he's not always quite as placid as he might let on in public. As LaDuca takes ball 1.
Hey, look at that.
That's the one we saw before, the powder blue Keith Hernandez jersey from the day.
I bet you he's an Ivy Leaguer.
LaDuca bounces one foul.
You know, you were talking about Willie Randolph throwing the chair. When I was playing for La Russa, I was pitching in Chicago. We lost the game 1-0 because I gave up a 470-foot bomb to Bo Jackson in the 9th inning to lose the game. And he came in and took the entire food table and turned it over. That was one of the best snaps I've ever seen.
2-1 to LaDuca. But, you know, Willie has said repeatedly, I'm not going to apologize for who I am and what my demeanor is, whether it's arguing with umpires, whether it's talking to the media. He said, I'm not going to turn over a spread table like that just because somebody thinks I'm supposed to.
Yeah. I think you just have to be your own personality, because over the course of working with these young men over 8 months, you know, you see everything. You know everything about everyone at the end of those 8 months. You can't hide who you are.
You know, and Willie, like he said, has seen it all as a player and as a coach over with the Yankees. And he's got a lot of experience to pull on now that he's manager of the Mets.
3-2 to LaDuca.
I played for hothead managers.
Oh, yeah.
And I played for managers that were very calm. Red Shandy's never hardly showed any emotion, and played for Vern Rapp, who was like a Marine Corps sergeant and was always in your face. I would prefer the easygoing guy.
Ryan behind the bag throws out LaDuca, and they're 2 away. Well, the one thing we've seen with Willie is that, and we saw it last night on a couple of occasions with Gomez and with Wright, when he's got stuff to address with guys, he goes right after it.
And it's pretty interesting that, like you say, he's more like the quiet sage. If something happens, he goes up and discusses it with his players. La Russa is just the opposite. Something happens on the field, La Russa writes it down. He has like a 24-hour rule. If he's still angry about it the next day, he'll address the player. If he's not, he'll let it go.
That's a good philosophy. A lot of times we make rash decisions in the first initial 24 hours. I'm speaking for myself, but I always make a point to wait 24 hours before I scream at someone.
Or at least 24 minutes.
Beltran doubled in a run his first time up, and he takes a strike, and it's 0-2. The other thing Willie said today was, you know, during the losing streaks, there were a couple of examples of guys not running hard. And he said, look, I understand guys get frustrated, and once in a while you pop up with the bases loaded, you may not run a ball out. He said, what bothers me and what I will address immediately is if it becomes a habit. He said, one time, you can excuse guys. He said, I've played long enough to understand the frustrations that come with the game. To Beltran, and he fouls it away.
It's like, you know, the bonehead play of not knowing how many outs there are. This is always going to happen once a year, where you kind of just have a brain lock and don't do it. But, you know, if it happens 2 or 3 times, then you're in trouble. You're not paying attention.
Meyer misses with the changeup, and it's 1-2.
Well, that was Whitey Herzog's pet peeve, was when he first came over to the Cardinals, was I want everybody to run everything out. And I will issue a fine. And it'll be a $500 fine. And I remember George Hendrick was on our team, and George came over with a reputation of being not running out balls. And the first time George didn't run out a ball, Whitey called him in the office. I said, George, it's $500. I can't. It's what's good for one is good for all, and this is the rule. And George paid him the $500, and George ran everything out the rest of the way.
Beltran pops it foul. It's such a delicate balance because you're managing 25 different personalities, all high-achieving personalities, and you can only manage them the way you feel comfortable managing. You can't be somebody you're not. And I think, you know, all 3 of us have seen examples of managers who get jobs either for the first time or somewhere down the road and try and be something they're not, and it's never successful. This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat to Beltran, and he foul tips it and stays alive.
Well, sometimes a manager will get hired with the edict that he will act in a certain way because the front office wants him to act in a certain way, whether that's to yell at the umpires, well, whether that's to be a disciplinarian with his team. And if the person who becomes the manager can't carry that off, boy, I'll tell you, the players see right through it.
This is quite an at bat for Beltran. He's already seen 11 pitches now and still going.
Or the front office will hire a manager with the personality that they want.
And Wellemeyer wins the marathon as he strikes out Beltran to end the inning. Third strikeout for Wellemeyer, and the Mets are out 1-2-3 for the first time. We go to the fourth at Shea, still tied at 1. Wednesdays this summer, Daily News Live, presented by Citi, is stepping outside with shows in the SNY Studio Plaza at 51st Street and 6th Avenue. Come by this Wednesday at 5. Ryan Ludwig, first pitch swinging, which has been the standard for the Cardinals tonight.
It really has been. You know what that Daily News Live needs? If they're going to be outside, it's going to be hot tomorrow. They need those things, you know, they do in the NFL. They have those air conditioners that blow on the players.
Like the misters they have in Arizona. Ludwig fouls one off the mask of the umpire. And Barrett taking the hit, and it's 0-2. Ludwig struck out his first time up. 1 of 3 for Perez tonight. That pitch count a little higher than he'd like it to be starting the 4th inning. The ball strike ratio is good. Just missed outside. It's 1-2.
If you guys at home, 15 pitches per inning is about where you want to be. That's the max. Anything under that is a luxury.
And that breaking ball just missed.
Remember, Johan Santana against the Mets recently threw that 92 pitch complete game. Doing some research on that. The lowest pitch count for a complete game shutout was a Boston Braves pitcher, 58.
How many strikeouts in that game? Couldn't have been much.
Wow. Strike 3 called, and Ludwig down for the second time. That's the 4th strikeout for Perez.
58.
58.
Did he get 27 outs?
Must have been getaway day.
Good pitch. Backdoor slider again by Perez.
This is something Perez is throwing a little more than usual, and something he's been working on, obviously, because that's a real good weapon for him against the right-hander.
Miles takes the pitch high.
And we've said all along that he's really got to be careful against the right-hander. He gets hurt by the right-hand hitters, giving up 10 of his 11 home runs to right-hand hitters.
Fouls it away. Well, he's been keeping the ball away from those right-hand hitters all night. I mean, Encarnacion and Pujols both with opposite field doubles.
But he's done a good job when he comes in. He comes in off the plate. So at least he's setting up that pitch outside.
Fastball misses, and it's 2-1. By the way, the Phillies have taken a 6-1 lead on the Reds as they play in the bottom of the 3rd. Ryan Howard has a home run.
Cincinnati, that's them every night, isn't it? Down 6-1 in the 3rd.
And then Griffey hits a home run.
Yeah, a late home run.
And everybody is happy. 3-1 to Miles. I have not been looking at the attendance numbers in Cincinnati, but it can't be a great situation.
They've got to make some moves. What a great shot that is.
Beautiful. There's a strike, and it's 3-2 to Miles.
Well, there's been talk recently, right, at moving Adam Dunn, the big home run hitter for the Reds. Strikes out a lot, though.
Well, they've been talking about that for a while.
Yeah,
you know, they've had a plethora of outfielders there.
He'd be better served as a DH over in the American League.
Tries to hold, and he went around. Strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Perez, and he's got 5 for the night. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, Perez doing a great job of keeping the ball down. And I believe that's his split finger, too. He's been using that a lot more against the right-handers. And Miles, just like last night when he had that big at-bat, was swinging at bad pitches.
Well, he needed another weapon against right-handers. Don't you think, Ron? Yeah. Something off speed?
Kelly Stinnett hits it in the air to left center. Can of corn for Beltran. And the side retired. 1-2-3 inning for Oliver Perez.
Del Monte?
Libby's.
Oh, I'm channeling.
Frozen?
It's time for our Aflac trivia question. Last night, David Wright's consecutive stolen base streak ended at 19. That's including last year. Who holds the Mets record for consecutive stolen bases? I think you guys know that one.
Well, I know that one.
David Wright leads off in the bottom of the fourth. David fly deep to right his first time up.
Didn't Frankie Tavares steal 50 bases once for the Mets? Did he? Or was it?
Stole 70 for the Pirates.
Yes.
He might have stolen 50 for the Mets. 0-1 to Wright. Well, the Met club record is Roger Cedeno.
Right.
60?
66.
66.
I thought Tavares had a. Frankie had a. And those were those terrible Met teams
Yeah,
too.
he might have had a 50 steal season.
53 maybe?
52, I'll say. Maybe I could be wrong.
I'm looking it up. No sense guessing.
At least you're honest.
I'd try. Tavares had 42 was his top season as a Met in '79. Cedeno 66, Reyes 64 and 60 the last 2 years, and then Mookie at 58. Mookie also had a 54 and Lance Johnson had a 50. Those are the only 50 stolen base seasons as a Met. 2-2 to David. What do you think he'll top out in steals? I mean, as pitchers get more aware of his ability to steal, will that slow him down? Up the middle and a base hit for David Wright. So the Mets get the leadoff man on for the second time in 4 innings. Carlos Delgado coming up. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt.
You know, guys, when Shawn Green hit that walk-off home run last night, no one was happier than Carlos Delgado. Of course, the two are very good friends. Back when they played with Toronto together, they used to have home run derbies all the time. Delgado said, I would win, but it would be close. And they lean on each other, too. I think it's those things that you don't see. For instance, in spring training, Shawn Green would come back to the dugout and lean over to Delgado and say, man, I hit that hard. And Delgado would tell him to hang in there. You still got plenty of pop in that bat. After Green came into home plate last night in that scrum, the first guy to talk to him was Delgado, who leaned over and whispered, I told you, you still got pop. That meant an awful lot to Green. Guys?
Well, Green said he had not turned on a ball and hit it that far in a long, long time.
Delgado's nickname for Shawn Green? Flaco.
Skinny. Well, it was Delgado's birthday last night, and Shawn gave him a nice present with that home run. Delgado fly deep to right his first time, and Ohlmeyer beats him upstairs, and it's 0-2.
The Mets teams we played on, Keith, we used to, if you see this pitch upstairs, the Mets team we played on used to get in those scrums also, but it would end up with ejections. It was usually with the other team.
I asked the question of you guys, I mean, when did this become the tradition that you have to beat up your teammate when he scores a walk-off run?
It used to be only in a stretch run you did it. It was an important game in September.
Delgado goes out of the strike zone to fan on that fastball, and that's 4 strikeouts for Wellemeyer.
And that'll get you shaking your head.
The right fielder, Shawn Green.
Well, a lot of movement from Wellemeyer, though.
Watch his front hip. It's open, and he's reaching. He's I know it's up here for us to look at it. It's hard to put it. You work on it in BP. And you feel good in BP, but it's not the same as putting it out there when you get up there against a real at bat in a game. It's a lot of it's confidence. I thought Rick Down made a very, very interesting comment in the paper regarding Carlos. He felt that. Watch his front hip. Now watch it fly open. It'll move. See, he's already expended himself. He's already starting to lean forward. His hands are back. And now the reach. You see, the hips are too open this way. And you kind of want to coil. And you open your hips as the swing is in progression. He's doing it much too quickly.
Toward the middle, Ryan on the backhand, flip to Miles, and that's a double play. Nicely done by the Cardinals. 4-6-3 to end the inning. The rookie Ryan with a nice flip, and the rest was easy for Miles. Game still tied at 1. Ready for your Mets 15 seconds of fame? Make your own Your Season Has Come TV commercial, and it could air during a Mets game on SNY. Go to Mets.com for details today. Brendan Ryan leads off in the 5th inning against Oliver Perez. Each team scored in the 1st, and each has been stymied since. Ryan drew a walk his first time up. Takes a strike. And the slider on the outside corner, and it's 0-2. Pitcher Wellemeyer on deck, and then so Taguchi here in the top of the 5th. And Ryan fouls it away.
That backup slider to the left of the right-hand hitters from Perez is really in reverse what Mota did last night to left-hand hitters, backdoor slidering the left-hand hitters all night long.
Feliciano.
No.
It's Jorge Sosa. Yeah.
Sosa. Excuse me.
Sorry. And just got a piece of it to stay alive.
Well, it's nice to watch this. People always think that you throw your fastball to both sides of the plate. You can also do that with your slider if you have the control. There's Jorge.
And you read the quotes in the paper. If you read the papers today, that LaDuca said he was just picture perfect with that backdoor slider all night.
Up the middle, and Valentine to his right. Throws out Ryan, who is hustling all the way. One man down. Time for a City Baseball Night in New York update. Let's check in with the studio and Matt Yellow.
All right, thanks a lot, Gary. Phillies chasing the Mets, and the Phillies chasing the Reds right out of the ballpark. Ryan Howard, number 17 on the season. Shane Victorino also goes deep. It is 7-2 Phillies, and they're only in the top of the 4th.
All right, thank you, Matt. Here's Wellemeyer, and he fouls one away. The Braves tonight are playing Washington. They're tied 1-1 in the 3rd. Jared Saltalamacchia has just hit a home run. That last ground ball by Brendan Ryan, the first against Perez tonight. It was 16 years and a couple of days ago. The Mets played a game with the Phillies in which the Mets had no assists in the field. Guess who was pitching? 1991.
Seaver.
Sid.
Oh, Sidness.
Mr. Fly Ball.
Do you know that that was the one lineup that Davey could put all the offense in? He would play Howard at shortstop.
That's right. Or Kevin Mitchell at short even.
And exactly, because it was a fly ball pitcher. He had to make sure that he had a good defensive outfield, which we did with Darryl, Mookie, or Lenny. It didn't matter. They can both play. There was time when they both played left and center at the same game. But Sid was such a fly ball pitcher.
And Perez strikes out Wellemeyer for the 2nd time. That's 6 Ks now for Oliver.
Again, that's split finger. No, that's a slider.
Center fielder,
Thought he had a split finger grip. Good slider down and in, and pitcher Wellemeyer has no chance.
So Oliver did get an assist behind him on that first ground ball, so he's not going to challenge that tonight.
We used to describe Sid's stuff as high cheese and the curve that is seldom swung at.
Yes. And he developed a changeup. And he had a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know who first coined it about Sid. I don't know if it was Murph or somebody else, that he looks like he's pitching uphill.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that was the best way to describe it, because he had a pitching motion unlike anybody else. To center field, and Beltran retreating. Another fly ball out for Oliver Perez, and another 1-2-3 inning. He's retired 7 in a row. Halfway through it, Shea. 1-1.
The second baseman, Jose Valentine.
A different duck.
That's good.
A laugh like humor for you.
Funny.
Well, the answer to your question, most consecutive stolen bases by a Met. Kevin McReynolds, big guy who could run. Was 21 for 21 in 1988.
And he was deceptively fast. It looked like he wasn't even trying when he ran. And he was such a good left fielder. He made it look so easy, you didn't realize how good a left fielder he was.
We'll say Valentine popped to short his first time up. A last night the Cardinals got a great start out of Mike Maroth in his first National League start, and so far tonight Todd Wellemeyer, a cast-off from the Kansas City Royals, has more than held his own.
Oh, nice change.
The interesting thing about Wellemeyer, he's made 5 starts before this for the Cardinals this year, as you look at that changeup. And the Cardinals have won all 5 games. Now, the reason? They're averaging 8.5 runs per game in his starts. But Valentine crunches one to deep right center. Back goes to Gucci. Back near the wall. He has just enough room to make the catch. Well, a few Mets have made bids to right center.
Well, welcome to Shea Stadium. This is a pitcher's paradise. This is also, you see the pitch right here. Fastball. Another 10 feet, it's out.
I've seen a few balls, right? Pujols' ball, his first at bat, I thought was going to be a gapper. I thought that was out at the crack of the bat.
Well, we're so used to seeing balls going out the last 10 years. Now it's just kind of shocking to see balls die at the warning track.
So the breeze blowing a little bit right to left might have had an effect on that ball. Delgado hit one to right center that got halfway back on the warning track. Gomez with a big cut, and it's 1-1. And you know, as Citi Field continues to rise out beyond center field and left field, you have to wonder whether it's affecting the wind patterns in this ballpark and whether it's going to affect it further next year when it's even more completely built. Fouls off the bunt attempt, and it's 1-2.
Well, it's fun to watch the progress of the construction. And you come back off of a road trip and you come back to a new homestand and something's different than built, and I just can't wait till it's completed.
Well, you're saying that tonight because we have no air conditioning here.
We have fans though.
And in the new ballpark, I bet you'll have your own personal air conditioner.
Well, you like the heat.
I do. Check swing. He foul tipped it into the mid of Sinet, and Gomez is a strikeout victim. That's 5 now for Wellemeyer, matching his season high.
Well, it's a good slider here, even though it's up. No, it's not that up. Got young Gomez out in front. There we are. He's got all these fans right here.
You need to make a call, by the way.
Well, that's the hotline to the White House.
I knew you had connections. Perez running up and slapping, and it's 0-1.
We have that kind of pull.
No, you have that kind of pull.
There they are. The other one's to the bat cave.
Alfred into shallow left field, and Ludwig is in. And that retires the side. So Wellemeyer keeps it rolling. A 1-2-3 inning for him. We played 5 now at Shea. Still a 1-1 ball game.
Well, the Mets can't get the offense cooking, but they did unveil their new family cookbook today. It's called Gourmets. 47 different recipes as all the Met players basically submitted their favorite recipes, and it's good stuff. All the players have pictures in there which are quite entertaining. I don't know any more than Ramon Castro swinging the frying pan. Andy Chavez there. I mean, this is pretty good stuff. And there's actually some pretty good food in here. Actually, we get to taste a little bit of it today. Carlos Delgado with his grilled snapper, avocado salsa. Pretty tasty. And some of the Met players' wives are actually pushing the book in the Met clubhouse stores today. Best part, guys, proceeds benefit the New York City Food Bank. So a lot of fun, a couple of laughs when you're making the selections as well, and all for a good cause. Back to you.
Did you mention that Sean Green's in there with matzo ball soup?
No. That's very funny.
1-1 to Spezio, who takes ball 2 from Perez.
Now, guys, Tom Glavine took the easy way out. He has French toast. I mean,
I can even make that. Down to David Wright in between Hop, and he stays with it and throws out Spezio 1 away. That's 8 in a row set down by Perez. And so he'll take on Pujols with the bases empty. And Perez has been doing quite a job tonight getting ahead of the hitters.
Well, coming into this inning, 15 of the 19 batters he's faced, he's thrown a first pitch strike.
A little break from construction there?
Looks like a union job to me.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, wow.
You're going to mess with the union here in New York City?
I just want to let all the union members know that was Keith Hernandez, H-E-R. 2-0 to Pujols. Pujols is fly deep to center and double down the right field line. And now Perez falls behind him 3-0 and looking like he might not want any part of it. Got off to a miserable start this season, but has certainly picked it up the last month and a half.
I think it was a learning process for him, and I agree with you right there, Gary, that he just a poison pill that Perez does not want to take.
Well, in this St. Louis lineup right now, there is no reason to pitch to Pujols.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you got an Edmonds in there, if
Edmonds and Roland,
right. I mean that makes all the difference.
You can't be monkeying around.
Well, especially in a tie game, because one swing of the bat and Cardinals are up. He's in scoring position, Albert Pujols, when he's at the plate.
So here's Encarnacion, who's driven in the Cardinals' run tonight, and he takes a slider for a strike. See, it's a tie game, 1-1, 6th inning, runner on base. If Roland were up now, the Mets could have Andy Chavez in left field, and we could have a full recreation.
That's right.
From Game 7 last year. This is eerie. 0-2 to Encarnacion. But Roland's missing, Chavez is missing, and it kills the whole scenario. 92 pitches now for Perez. A little high, but not bad.
Especially if you can get a ground ball here in a double play.
Encarnacion, though, doesn't hit that many ground balls.
He's a very peculiar hitter.
To me, whenever I watch him hit, Keith, it just seems like a pure guess hitter to me. Encarnacion. If he's going to swing, he decides before the ball comes. And he's always been one of those guys who had the reputation that he doesn't always have the pedal to the metal 100% of the time.
Agreed. And he's a free swinger. And at 2 pitches up the ladder on him now, it's a good time to come downstairs in the dirt.
Popped up foul, and that'll come out of play.
Came after him with a fastball in.
Remember, Encarnacion was part of the 2003 Marlins and was benched during the World Series to give Miguel Cabrera a chance to play. Cabrera, remember, played in the outfield in that World Series against the Yankees. And Encarnacion was devastated that after he played all year for a championship team, that he was taken out of the lineup in the biggest games. And the slider low, 1-2.
Nice try with that 0-2 slider in the dirt after all those fastballs upstairs, and Encarnacion showing a little discipline there. And a good eye taking it.
I'd double up on it, though. Throw another one down the dirt. He'll chase it.
Backdoor slider here.
In the air to left field. Gomez drifting, but he's there. And that's the second out. So 2 away. Pujols back to first.
Oh, he's just been able to use all of his pitches. The backdoor curveball has been outstanding. Striking out the right-handed hitters. He's able to throw it down and in when he needs to.
And we talked earlier, coming in his last 4 starts, the 16 walks and almost 25 innings. So he has been all around the plate throwing strikes tonight.
He struck out Ryan Ludwig twice tonight. Hit hard, that one 8 upright. And a base hit for Ludwig. So Ludwig, after being struck out his first 2 times up, looking for the breaking ball, and he ripped it.
You see David right here. This is a hot corner right there. A big bullet hit right at him. Didn't move much, but the ball's hit awfully hard. And that was an up hop. Tough chance.
So the Cardinals have their 4th hit. 2 out and 2 on for Aaron Miles, who is hitting .432 this year with runners in scoring position. Now, not all those hits have driven in runs because he'll get the odd infield hit, and they play him shallow in the outfield, so sometimes it's tough for him to get a runner in from second. But still, .432 with runners in scoring position. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Flied out and struck out. By the way, with runners at first and second, remember last night Gary Bennett and Mike Maroth pulled off a double steal. Elias went back and checked. It was the first double steal involving a catcher and a pitcher since 1973. Big chopper for Reyes on the backhand. He'll have to go to first. Miles is out by a stride, side retired. Reyes showing off that gun, and he had to use it from deep in the hole. Waiting for that hop and throwing out Miles to get Perez out of trouble in the 6th inning and keep it tied. Let's check out the Mets box score. Mets got off to a fast start in the 1st inning. Reyes singled. Beltran doubled him home, but he only hit since David Wright's leadoff single in the 4th, and he was erased on a double play. So another night in which the Mets offense has been slow starting. They had just 3 hits last night and just 3 hits so far tonight. 3rd time through the batting order now. Reyes leads off against Todd Wellemeyer and takes the breaking ball for a strike.
Wellemeyer's throwing that little changeup. That circle change, he's got good command with it tonight, and that's keeping the Met hitters off balance. And you can see Spezio's in way tight at 3rd base.
Reyes has already chopped one over Spezio's head tonight. Fouls that one away, and it's 0-2.
Well, maybe Wellemeyer's problem was that in the minor leagues he was always a starter and came up to the big leagues, became a reliever. Didn't start his first game till May 30th of this year for the Cardinals. Maybe this is where he should have been all along.
Paul LaDuca on deck, and then Carlos Beltran. Reyes lays off the high one, 1-2. Wellemeyer made 119 relief appearances before he made that first major league start against the Rockies on May 30th. This is now his 6th start for the Cardinals, and as we mentioned earlier, they've won every game so far that he started. Reyes fouls it away.
You know, Dave Duncan, the pitching coach for the Cardinals, one of the best at getting even young pitchers, or you see the pitch count 74, getting young or older pitchers that have had trouble and really reclaim their careers.
1-2 to Reyes, and he misses with that changeup, and it's 2-2.
Well, you know, see all the numbers there and all the things that he's done. I played in those teams there for Oakland, but he was the thing about Duncan.
As Reyes pops it up, and Miles has got it, 1 away.
The thing about Duncan that's great is that he is just so even-keeled. He doesn't say a whole lot, but when he does, it's always something important. And the thing he really helped me with later in my career is he gave me sequences of how to get hitters out. I had never done that before, really, with Mel Stottlemyre, who's more of a, I think he was big father to all of us young pitchers with the Mets, but Dunk really had a thought process on how to get hitters out.
There's Paul LaDuca, and he takes a strike. Is it strange having a pitching coach who wasn't a pitcher?
Yeah, it's a little different, but it gives you a nice perspective, because I had a pitching coach for 10 years, Mel Stottlemyre, who had been a pitcher. And Dunkel really used to talk to the pitchers on his staff as a hitter and explain what the hitter's looking for in certain situations. He would say stuff like, hey, you know, when you got the bases loaded, hitter's nervous too. He would give you things like that to think about instead of getting nervous. When you would be struggling, have a couple guys on, you come out and go, hey, there's 2 outs. Think you can get 1 more out? So, yeah, okay. All right, good. Let's just get 1 more out. You know, he'd really make it light out there.
1-2 to LaDuca.
There's been a lot of pitching coaches that have been their career as catchers.
Well, Rube Walker with the Mets.
Yes, absolutely.
That great 69 pitching staff with Seaver and Kuzman and Gentry. Ryan. In the air, shallow right, Encarnacion over. 2 away. Time for a baseball night in New York update. Let's go back to the studio and Matt Yellow.
All right, Gary, we keep it in the East with the Nationals and the Braves, and Jared Saltalamacchia with number 3 on the season. Makes it a 1-1 game. That's where we stand in Atlanta, 1-1 in the 5th. See more on Geico Sports Night.
Seeing more and more hitters now with that Sheffield-style waggle. Gomez has got it. Saltalamacchia has got it. There's Carlos Beltran, who takes the changeup for ball 1.
Well, when Gary Sheffield was styling in the World Series. These kids were 10, 12 years old. They're trying to copy their heroes.
It's a lot of extra movement. I mean, Willie Mays had the big hitch. What are you going to tell Willie Mays up to come up and you got to stop the hitch? I mean, how many home runs later, Willie Mays?
Hank Aaron, a front foot hitter.
Front foot hitter, but level swing. Clemente was a front foot hitter, unorthodox.
So I'll go back to what I asked last night. How come more hitters don't choke up since Bonds is doing it?
Well, very good question.
Beltran has doubled in the Mets' only run tonight. That was in the first inning. And the Mets have had just one hit since the first inning. Last night they didn't have a hit between the 3rd and the 11th, between Gomez's home run and Green's home run, and yet they won the ball game. David Wright on deck, hoping Beltran can keep the inning going. Popped it up, and that'll come back toward the crowd and out of play. Just steps from Shea Stadium on Friday, June 29th. It's a Mets Live on SNY viewing party at the Pine Restaurant of Queens. Good spot. Join us for the game at 7 with food and drink specials, ticket giveaways, Hawaiian Tropic Girls, and more. Can't beat the Pine.
I've seen those Hawaiian Tropic Girls.
3-2 now to Beltran. Really?
No. Pictures of them. An added enticement.
3-2 to Beltran, and he walked him. Second walk given up by Wellemeyer. And so the Mets have a 2-out base runner for David Wright. David has one of the Mets' 3 hits. He's singled up the middle, leading off the 4th.
Well, Carlos, all that gear on, that shin protector, and a good time for Carlos maybe when he steal a base.
Usually the first base coach holds all that stuff. I guess Ojo said no way. I'm 30-30. I'm not holding your gear.
Bill Robinson didn't like holding gear.
Beltran with 10 steals on the year. And Wright takes the fastball for a strike. Did that just say 97 miles an hour?
Jeez. It's always that high fastball that pitcher gets a little more up on, and I think it tricks the gun too.
That's what I told the guy who stopped me on Expressway.
You were talking, you mentioned Bill Robinson, Uncle Bill, when he coached first for those teams. If a hitter made an out and threw their helmet, he would just let it stay on the field. He wouldn't even go get it.
Bill, one time I threw my helmet. I was in a bad slump, and I threw my helmet down. He goes, "Come on, with his teeth. Do me a favor." He goes, "Don't throw the helmet. Just hand it to me. I don't want to pick it up." I said, "Okay, Bill."
Stinnett stops the slider in the dirt, and it's 1-1. David with 12 home runs, 40 runs batted in. We'll reach the statistical halfway point of the season at the beginning of next week. 81 games. Get an idea of where people are at in their numbers.
A good eye by David, and that's something he's always shown. Now he's got the count in his favor. He's missed with 2 sliders in a row as Delgado's in the on-deck circle. As a hitter, you always love that.
This will be the 90th pitch that Wellemeyer has thrown tonight. And David takes it inside, and now he's got the advantage at 3-1.
Well, an 0-1 slider, a 1-1 slider, a 2-1 changeup. What's he going to throw 3-1?
Well, he's put himself into a hole here.
David's had some good swings against Wellemeyer tonight.
Changeup.
Well, that tells you a little something right there, doesn't it?
There goes Beltran, swung and missed. No throw by Stinnett, and now Beltran's at second. 11th steal of the year for Carlos.
Well, David, of course, fooled on the changeup, and 3-1. I can see that. And Beltran just so graceful. Runs so gracefully. Not the greatest of jumps, but he's just so explosive. And when he gets going, those long strides.
And he's running better and better.
I love those feet first slides. So the go-ahead run in scoring position with 2 down. 3-2 to David Wright.
Timeout here.
So Stinnett and Willemire need to get together. This is the first time since the first inning that there's been a runner at second base.
You know, Stinnett calling the 2-1 changeup, 3-1 changeup. That tells me that if they're going to pick a poison to go after, it's going to be Delgado and not Wright. The Wright is not going to get a fastball in a situation to beat him.
Well, particularly David. David's last home run hasn't been since the Detroit. So it's been a while, but David's been hitting in the clutch and the singles.
There goes Beltran. It's inside. Throw to third. Beltran is safe. Wright is on with a walk, and the Mets have runners at the corners for Delgado.
We'll see the jump. He just got a great. No one paying attention to Carlos. And you know what? Do you, as an infielder and middle infielders, do you want to give up covering defense with 2 outs with David Wright up? Or, you know, if you want to steal the base, I'd rather have the defense back where they can cover the maximum amount of ground. So the base hit scores Beltran.
Now the question is what Wright think about running. You got Delgado up, Green on deck. Delgado 0 for 2 tonight. Hit a long fly ball to right center his first time, but then had a poor at bat and struck out in the 4th. Tie game, 6th inning.
And he laid off that high fastball that time, Ronnie. In the last at bat when he struck out, he went after 2 high fastballs and got behind.
Look at that number. Since April 23rd, 0 for 22 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. That's 2 months plus. Change up in for a strike. 1-1. That's got to eat at you as a RBI guy.
Well, his whole year has got to be eating at him. I mean, this is a man that's got Hall of Fame numbers.
Trying to break that streak right here. Pulled foul.
And you see, that's that fastball way inside, Ron. We're talking about him committing too quick. And if he doesn't commit, if he's up at the plate hitting the ball right up at the plate, he wouldn't swing at that pitch. But he's starting too quick and opening up too quick, and it makes you swing at bad pitches.
Now he's behind in the count, 1-2.
He heads up with Beltran here. Change up a slider in the dirt.
You can get a big lead with Spezio playing off the line. Willemire thinking White might be going.
When you get that big of a lead at third base, anything in the dirt that gets away just a tiny bit from Stinnett, you have a chance to score.
Carlos could probably get a little further down the line than he is with where Spezio's playing.
I gotta believe he's gonna throw a changeup, and hopefully for him it'll be out of the strike zone way, Ronnie.
The changeup misses badly, and it's 2-2.
Well, he struck him out with that pitch last time. He laid off this, so now it's 2-2 even the count.
I don't know. I feel like that was a setup pitch. Total setup to go back inside with the fastball. Let's see what Stinnett calls.
Yep, you called it, Ronnie.
Grounded to second, and Ryan's got it. So Willemire gets himself out of trouble as Delgado grounds out to end the inning, and that hitless streak with 2 outs and runners in scoring position continues. Well, pitchers have really been attacking Carlos Delgado.
Looks like Carlos is taking all the way there. It's a high fastball up, ball 1. Taking again. Changeup. Then that's the key pitch right there. A bad fastball in. Changeup away, misses, and then he comes inside, Ron.
And every pitch leads to the next pitch. That's the key for any pitcher, especially the starting pitcher when you're facing someone at third at bat. So what you're trying to do is that changeup he threw away set up that fastball inside to get the out. He did not want to throw it on the plate. He just wanted Delgado to see something soft and away before he went hard and in.
It's tough to be out there and having the year he's having.
Kelly Stinnett takes low, and it's 1-1.
And what sticks out in my mind about that at bat was it was an RBI situation, and he was taking a strike basically.
Yes.
The first 2 pitches. That means he's not seeing the ball well.
Slider, broken bat grounder, and Reyes with plenty of time with Stinnett running. 1 away.
Because my philosophy, even when I was not swinging the bat good, was in a pitcher in a situation where I can beat him or hurt him. I was first ball fastball hitting. I'm not letting him throw a fastball over the plate for a strike. That I'm not going to take that pitch. I was a good fastball hitter. Delgado's obviously a good fastball hitter. So he really has to be really uncomfortable up at the plate, and this has been all season long.
Brendan Ryan takes a slider for a strike, and Perez continues to get first pitch strikes.
Do you ever take a previous at bat though to the next at bat? Delgado, previous at bat before that, rolling over to 4-3, had struck out on a ball out of the strike zone. Does that lead you to think sometimes as your next at bat, as you see Aaron Heilman in the bullpen, to say, you know what, he's trying to get me out in his time?
Troy Cate,
yes.
Yeah.
It depends how you feel, Ron. If I didn't feel good at the plate, and there's times it's not black and white. It's not you feel great or you feel lousy. There's an in-between too where you just don't feel comfortable, but you're not totally feeling bad. You just shorten up. And I'm not trying to hit an extra base hit. I'm just be a line drive hitter.
But now Perez behind on Ryan, 3-1.
But Delgado's an entirely different hitter than me. I mean, Delgado's got over 400 home runs. Shoot, I wasn't a home run hitter. I was a third hitter and a line drive hitter and a doubles hitter.
Hit toward the hole, past the diving Valentine, and a base hit for Brendan Ryan. So 1 out and 1 on.
Well, fastball belt high up, and that's how you go the other way with it.
For the Cardinals, number 16.
You can see why the Cardinals have liked Ryan in the past, because nice base hit and the hustle down the first base line. He's kind of a fun player to watch.
And the ball just hit too hard for Jose Valentine to make a play on. Nice try.
Well, Chris Duncan will pinch hit, and if you're wondering why a left-hand pinch hitter against Perez, well, the Cardinals a little short on their bench with Scott Rowland hurt. And the slider misses inside, and this is the first left-hand hitter Perez has faced tonight.
And whenever you go through a lineup and you're just used to facing right-hander after right-hander after right-hander, sometimes you lose that slider because you don't know where to throw it off the left-hander.
There's Dave watching his son, Chris, who was 1 for 3 last night. And the fastball misses in tight, and it's 2-0.
Did Chris Duncan hit a pinch hit home run last year in the playoffs against a left-hander?
I believe he did.
Was it against the Mets or was it the series prior?
No, I think it was against the Mets.
Yes.
In St. Louis in game 3.
And he hit it off of, do you remember? We'll look it up. Because I remember I was sitting home and I was stunned that La Russa pinch hit him against one of our lefties. And sure enough, he hit a home run.
Was it Feliciano? I don't remember. I do remember what you're talking about, though. 2-0 to Duncan. And Perez throws over, chasing Ryan back. Ryan had 12 steals in the minors this year, has yet to attempt one in the big leagues. And you see Duncan doesn't play that much and doesn't hit that much against lefties. But he's got the advantage here, 2-0. In a 1-1 game in the 7th. And again, Perez misses in tight. And now he's behind 3-0.
Now, I would not give Duncan a 3-0 hit sign here. But he's not a very disciplined hitter. He's a big swinger.
Here's a strike on the outside, and it's 3-1. Three and 1 to Duncan. Fouled away, and it's 3-2. Our producer Greg Picker and our graphics guy Dan Barr advising us it was Feliciano who gave up a home run to Duncan in game 5 in St. Louis. 3-2 to Duncan. We'll see if Ryan's in motion here with 1 out. Not going. Ball 4. Perez down to 1 knee. Trying to will that ball over the plate. But he issues his 3rd walk.
Well, 3-2 comes with the slider. We talked about it when you're facing right-handed hitters. All of a sudden, it's hard to find that notch with the slider to a left-handed hitter.
Well, Willie Randolph has made the sign to the bullpen. As you see that ball just miss. So Perez will exit after 6 1/3 with the game tied. Aaron Heilman will replace him. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Switch to Verizon Fios TV, internet, phone. It's the most advanced fiber optic network straight to your home. Oliver Perez done after 113 pitches over 6 1/3. No chance for a win tonight, and Aaron Heilman will try and keep him from falling behind.
Nice effort by Ollie. Aaron Heilman, who picked up the win in last night's ball game, and leads the majors with 6 relief victories. And the most important stat is that he has stranded all 16 inherited runners. Going to try to keep that perfect here in the 7th.
He inherits 2 with Ryan at 2nd and Duncan at 1st, and so Taguchi at the plate, who's hit 3 fly balls tonight to left, to right, and to center. 0 for 3. Ryan the lead run in a tie game, and Duncan on at 1st. And Taguchi, first pitch swinging, lifts another fly ball. Green retreats, and that's the 2nd out. Ryan tags at 2nd, and he'll move over to 3rd. Takes a turn there and holds. So Heilman throws 1 pitch, gets a fly ball out, and now with 2 away, it'll bring up Scott Spezia.
Well, first ball, fastball hitting, going right with the pitch, just got under it. Good at bat for Taguchi, just didn't hit the line drive. And Ryan, of course, knows it's reads, it's going to be caught, tags up now. There's a potential for a pass ball to score a run, and Duncan now forces the first baseman staying there to hold the runner on, leaves a big hole for the left-hand hitting Spezio.
Now last night Willie Randolph brought in the lefty Feliciano to pitch to Spezio, even though Spezio's been a much better right-hand hitter than left, and that worked out. Feliciano got the comebacker. Tonight in a crucial spot in the 7th, Spezio will bat left-handed. He's hitting just .257 as a left-hand batter. 1 for 3 tonight. He doubled and scored the lone Cardinal run back in the 1st. Takes the changeup outside, 1-0.
Well, this is something the Cardinals couldn't do last night. They left 10 men on base. They couldn't get the big hit, as you see Feliciano.
Well, it goes without saying, this is the crucial batter for Heilman. You got Pujols standing on deck, so he's got to go after Spezio with 1st and 3rd and 2 out. And that changeup missed, and it's 2-0. And there's Pujols looming.
Part of who you leave in the game is where they hit in the lineup. Spezio was not hitting 2nd in the lineup last night's ball games. Here hitting 2nd with Pujols behind him. Got to keep Heilman in.
He came with a 2-0 changeup with Pujols standing on deck. How about that?
Wow. And it was a get me over changeup. That was up and away, but he kept it away.
But you know Spezio had to be looking fastball, right?
I'd be sitting. My approach on Aaron would have been up the middle, so adjust to the changeup. He's got a very good one. I would not try to pull in this at bat.
Fastball off Heilman, deflects to Valentine, makes the pickup and bobbles it, and the Cardinals take the lead. The Mets got an enormous break when that ball deflected to Valentine, but he couldn't find the handle, and so St. Louis goes in front 2-1. That run is charged to Perez, and Heilman allows an inherited runner to score for the first time this year.
Fastball away running, and that ball was ripped.
First baseman Albert Pujols.
And Valentine here makes the break for it, has time, but just couldn't make the exchange. And had a little bit of the runner in front of him to kind of distract him. And you saw him look at the runner to see where he was. Maybe that was the difference in him getting the exchange, the proper exchange. But a big RBI for Spezio.
They scored that a base hit. And here's Pujols with 2 out and 2 on. 2-1 St. Louis.
It's like Sid's reaction, you know? Very understated.
I know that reaction, too.
Pujols grounds one to Reyes. And that'll do it for the inning. But the Cardinals able to grab the lead on the bank shot off Heilman, off Valentin. Spezio drives in the run, and it's 2-1 Cardinals. 7th inning stretch. Well, the Mets hoping that Oliver Perez could spin the same magic he did against the Cardinals last October. And he and Todd Wellemeyer matching up. Each gave up a run in the first inning, but nothing else. As Perez was dealing, got some defensive help as well. But a bank shot off Aaron Heilman put the Cardinals in the lead. And now the Mets will try and respond against the Cardinals bullpen in the bottom of the 7th. And the rookie left-hander Troy Cate, with a full moon rising over Shea, will take over the pitching.
Bad moon rising so far after that play. Troy Cate from Brigham Young University.
Green wide of first to Pujols. Cate gets over to cover. One pitch, a 3-1 putout. And there's one out in the bottom of the 7th.
Cate, the left-hander, was his second time with the big club. He was recalled just a week ago by the St. Louis Cardinals.
He is a steroid abuser. He was caught in the minor league policy in 2005, served a 15-day suspension. Russ Springer up in the Cardinal bullpen. Cate came up in the Seattle organization. Valentin turning around about right-handed, takes inside ball 1.
You can't trust someone from Brigham Young. Who can you trust?
No, I hear you.
It's an interesting question. Did a Mormon mission in England after his college career. 2-0 to Valentin.
A lot of the college kids at Brigham Young and some of the sports do the mission before they, after their freshman year, they'll go for a couple of years and then come back, because a lot of their athletes tend to be a little older in age at Brigham Young.
How about this? Cate not only failed one steroid test, he failed 2. And after he failed the second one, the Mariners released him later in that same year in 2005. A quote from him: "I got caught, I did my time, and it's in the past." So he owned up to it. As did Guillermo Mota. 3-2 now to Valentin, who hit one to the fence in right center his last time up that Taguchi caught. Valentin hit a home run batting right-handed on Sunday against the A's. Jay Marshall loops this one shallow center. Ryan makes the play. Beautiful lunging grab by the rookie second baseman Brendan Ryan, and that's the second out.
Well, I'll tell you what, take a peek at Ryan right here. What a jump he gets. He just really got a quick start on that, and that's what it took. That's a nice play in a one-run ball game. Boy, you love to see the good defense.
He flat out outran that ball.
Nice.
So Brendan Ryan, who scored the go-ahead run, now makes a beautiful play for the second out. And here's Carlos Gomez, who's walked and struck out tonight, 0 for 1. And Cate misses high, 1-0. Julio Franco out on deck to pinch hit for Heilman, if Gomez can keep the inning going. One and one to Gomez.
Cate's got a very awkward motion. Oh, there's a good SNY fan. And a Budweiser fan.
As Guillermo Mota gets ready in the bullpen. IO Digital Cable and SNY invite you to enter the amazing day at Shea Sweepstakes. One winner will take the mound and throw out the first pitch August 21st. To enter, go to doucnhd.com. Cate ahead 1-2 on Gomez. Struck him out with a high fastball. And so Troy Cate, with some help from Brendan Ryan, gets the Mets out 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 7th. On to the 8th. 2-1 St. Louis. Check out our Toyota out-of-town scoreboard as we look at the National League East. 2 home runs for Jared Saltalamacchia tonight, and the Braves leading the Nationals 5-1 as they've found their offense all of a sudden. Phillies rolling over the Reds. Ryan Howard and Shane Victorino with home runs as Juan Encarnacion takes a strike. Pittsburgh leading Florida. Jack Wilson with a home run for the Pirates. And out of the division, Cubs leading the Rockies. Think they can hold that lead? Houston and Milwaukee tied 2-2. 1-1 to Encarnacion. Well, how about that last night? Not only did the Cubs blow a 5-run lead in the top of the 9th and then win the game, as Encarnacion floats a base hit into center field, and he's got his 2nd hit of the night. But after Bobby Howry gave up the home run to Troy Tulowitzki, a fan came out of the stands at Wrigley and headed straight for Howry, apparently with ill intent, before security cut him off.
And for all you fans out there, if you come on the field, you're free game, you're open game for anybody, because in other words, you can get your clock cleaned if you get on that field by a player, and you can't sue them.
It just goes to show you, though, that, I know they do a fantastic job here, because I never had any incidents, but how important the security people are at all the ballparks around the league, because fans can get so rabid about their team, get so caught up in it, that sometimes they go nuts. The only incident I ever had here was I was getting knocked around one day in the start, and someone threw a grapefruit at me that landed near the mound.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I got a good story for you, from Candlestick Park story.
Back in the swings over the changeup.
Back in the days when the Giants were horrible, and I was a young player in the 70s, and Reggie Smith was in the on-deck circle. Someone threw a 5th of Jack Daniels from somewhere at Reggie Smith. It was half full. Wow. In the on-deck circle, and missed him by around 4 feet.
Wow. Most drunks only throw empty bottles.
Oh, I understand. A very wealthy patron. But you know those Candlestick fans, it was so cold, they'd always sneak in a little hooch in there.
And I thought all they drank there was Chardonnay.
No.
0-2 to Ludwig, who's 1 for 3 on the night. Bauman checks in on Encarnacion, who has not attempted a stolen base this year. They threw a grapefruit at you?
Grapefruit, yeah.
Didn't they know you were born in Hawaii? I thought they'd throw a pineapple.
Well, they should have, but I was glad it was a grapefruit. I'm glad the Mets played in the Grapefruit League and not the Cactus League. I've been in trouble.
Check swing foul into the Mets dugout.
Didn't Randy Meyer get charged and beat up on someone when he was with the Cubs? Randall Kay?
Yeah. In fact, they mentioned that
Yeah.
last night.
Yes.
That it was similar to the event when Myers got. That's the last guy.
No, you don't.
You would want to go after.
No, Rambo.
You never know what Randy would have in his back pocket or in his shoe. Ludwig takes inside 1-2.
I used to always love Randall K. Myers' locker. I mean, he always had his calendar was always the pinup girls in camouflage outfits. It was like, gee, Randy.
There goes Encarnacion, and Ludwig pulls one foul. Got around so fast on that ball. Almost made it to the upper deck behind third.
Well, fastball running in, and it was down, and that's why he was able to stay in that at bat. That had been up. As you look at Joe Smith and Feliciano. And there were tandems the other night. Feliciano bailed out Joe Smith, but left with the bases loaded.
And now Heilman would love to get a ground ball. Ahead on the count 1-2. Just inside with the fastball, 2-2.
I think our audio is picked up down on the field. Is that glove really popping tonight of Paul LaDuca?
Even on the crack of the bat, we got an extra sensitive microphone down there.
sets up away. And he struck him out with a changeup. Third time Ludwig's been fan tonight. First strikeout for Heilmann. One away.
Well, good changeup. After throwing that fastball inside, that set up that good changeup. And it swings over the top of. Each pitch is interconnected to the next pitch, and that's how you set up hitters.
Great movement on that, sinking movement on that changeup, too. But you're right, Ron, all set up with the fastball.
So here's Miles with 1 out and 1 on. Miles is 0 for 3 tonight. And he takes the changeup, 1-0.
No, you mentioned yesterday that the question and answers thing with Rick Peterson. I thought one of the most interesting things he said, because he was asked, when your pitchers are struggling, do you feel bad for them? You try to console them. He said that a pitching coach and a pitcher are just like a caddy and his golfer. That they have that kind of, you know, they're in it together. The caddy certainly is not hitting the shots, but that's how you feel. You feel connected like that.
I find it interesting too that Rick has the he has a degree in psychology, and that's very much part of his what he uses in a positive way with his pitchers.
He's such an interesting guy. I mean, he grew up in a baseball family. His father was the GM of the Pirates and later worked for the Yankees, Harding Peterson, and so he's been around the game all his life, and he was a pitcher, but he's also into so many other things that have informed his work. Miles takes it off the plate. Eastern philosophy and biomechanics and psychology and all the things that help him be a better coach. Encarnacion has run on a couple of occasions here. Now it's 2-1. Good hit and run count. Not going. And it's on the inside corner with a changeup, 2-2. Tomorrow night, Tom Glavine tries for a career win number 297, opposed by Anthony Reyes, who's 0-9 and has lost 11 straight regular season games dating back to last year. El Duque goes against Adam Wainwright Thursday night. Met fans even able to say the name Adam Wainwright without cringing? 3-2 to Miles.
Adam Wainwright, of course, with the wicked curveball.
And he's had mixed success as a starting pitcher. 3-2 now. Let's see if Encarnacion runs with 1 out. Miles usually puts the ball in play. He's going. And he foul tips it. And LaDuca popping out. Got nailed by that one.
We'll watch him come up to make the throw. Oh, and it just fell. That got him in the rib. Well, that's one of the reasons why I was glad I was born a left-hander.
Mike Squires caught.
That's right.
Benny DiStefano.
Yes.
Dale Long. None of them caught for long, though.
No.
I always wondered why you couldn't have a left-handed catcher.
Well, the throw to third base on a steal, which
how often do you do that?
I understand.
On 3-2, ground ball up the middle. Valentin can't get it. Base hit. Encarnacion goes first to third, and the Cardinals have runners at the corners with 1 out. And you really have to wonder, without the brace on his right knee, does Valentin get to that ball?
Well, I agree with you right there, Gare, and we'll watch him right here, right of your screen in the middle. Just a little late break there, and not a lot of explosiveness. That ball's hit hard too. It's a tough chance.
How about Larry Young, the umpire with the Cotton-Eye Joe there getting out of the way? That was hilarious.
The what?
The Cotton-Eye Joe doing a little watch one. Hey.
Oh.
Nice evasive maneuver by Larry. Now first and third, 1 out, and here's Kelly Stinnett. And well, Hammond's job here very simple. He needs a ground ball because Kelly Stinnett is slow, and any kind of decent ground ball, he's got a chance to get himself through the inning with a double play.
Well, this is a big at bat here for the Cardinals. An insurance run out there on third.
Out to wave at the changeup away, and it's 0-1.
See so much of it today. Hitters just don't know how to shorten up. As Jose Akendo comes down, third base coach for the Cardinals. It could be a squeeze.
You know how much Tony loves to squeeze.
Yes. But hitters not altering in a game late like this where that run is so important, and shortening up your stroke. You got to put it in play.
See if the Mets pitch out here. Nope. Right after him with a fastball. It's 0-2 to Stinnett.
Very nicely done by David Wright there. We kind of caught that in the corner of our screen. He bluffed right when Heilmann was in his stretch at the belt, bluffed the runner back, and Encarnacion back to third. Nicely done.
Now it's 0-2 to Stinnett. Fouled away. Came up and in on Kelly, who is now with his 8th major league team. He was playing in Las Vegas AAA earlier this year in the Dodgers organization before the Cardinals picked him up. The infield at double play depth. First and third and 1 out. 2-1 St. Louis, 8th inning. 1-2 to Stinnett.
Kelly Stinnett, one of those lifers. He's going to be in baseball forever.
Catcher.
Yep.
He's had a couple of stints with the Mets. He started out with them and then made a return cameo last year. Duke is setting up inside. Pounded foul. And Stinnett hanging in there. .30 pitches in relief already for Heilmann, facing his 7th batter. One and 2 to Stinnett. Popped up. That'll keep the runners pinned. Delgado calls off Heilmann. 2 away.
Well, once again, the Cardinals cannot get a run in.
Second baseman Brendan Ryan.
Sacrifice fly situation. Listen to Delgado here. It's a beautiful thing.
Who said up? Was that Heilmann?
Yeah. I always find that funny. You'll find pitchers that do 2 things. They'll yell up, which is very obvious. And the other one, you'll see pitchers point to the sky, which I never understood that.
Not that helpful?
Everyone knows it's up there.
Day game, maybe.
No, it's down.
I got it.
Good communication all the way around, and now they're at 2 out.
Absolutely.
Here's Brendan Ryan, who singled and scored the go-ahead run in the 7th. First and third and 2 out. And Ryan lines a base hit to center field, just beyond the reach of the diving Reyes. And the Cardinals add a run. Encarnacion in to score. Miles goes to third. It's a big night for Brendan Ryan. Just his 5th major league start. He scored the go-ahead run, and now he's driven in an insurance run.
Well, change up here, like off the end of the bat, and almost like a screwball he hit out there that kind of tailed away from Jose Reyes. Encarnacion, that wonderful Spanish name that I botched earlier, it scores easily.
Miles with a hustle. That's always the danger of throwing a changeup to a hitter who's never faced you before.
Skip Schumacher will be the pinch hitter, batting for Troy Kate. And with him announced into the game, Willie Randolph's on his way to the mound and undoubtedly will bring in the left-hander, knowing that Tony La Russa doesn't really have a right-handed option. So Feliciano will come on to relieve Heilmann, who's given up a run here in the 8th after allowing an inherited runner to score in the 7th. And those 2 runs have the Cardinals in front 3-1. Pedro Feliciano on for the 2nd straight night.
What a nice job he did last night. He bailed out Joe Smith and pitched another extra inning. 1 1/3 last night. No runs. Kind of a habit with Pedro Feliciano in this great season.
So one batter assignment here with the pitcher spot due to lead off for the Mets in the bottom of the 8th. They'll take on Skip Schumacher to try and keep this a 3-1 game. Cardinals have a run home here in the 8th and lead 3-1, first and third with 2 out. Miles and Ryan the base runners. So Howman faced 8 batters and gave up 4 hits. And Schumacher hits a comebacker. Feliciano fields his position well, doesn't take this one off the ribs and gets it in the glove instead. So he throws one pitch and limits the damage, but the Cardinals had an insurance run. Reyes do a turn it bat in the bottom of the 8th. Here are the results of our Toyota text poll of the game. We asked you, should the All-Star game determine home field advantage for the World Series, which it currently does, and 74% of you said yeah. A little surprising coming from people watching a National League game, considering it has cost the National League home field advantage in each year that it's been used.
Amazing.
Well, Russ Springer faced one batter last night and gave up the game-winning home run to Sean Green. He's back for another go-round.
Well, until last night, though, he's been having a fantastic year for the Cardinals. Gave up that home run, long home run. But look at that batting average against.
Ruben Gotay will pinch hit.
And you see the infield there and the speed of the Mets forces the corners in.
Ruben hitting at .302 with 3 home runs. And it takes inside from Springer. And Spezio comes in even a little closer at third base. Mets need a base runner to get the tying run up here in the bottom of the 8th as Guillermo Mota gets ready. And that fastball crackles over the corner, 1-1. Ruben Gotay has been a very pleasant addition for the Mets.
He has done a fantastic job both defensively and offensively.
Reyes and then LaDuca here in the bottom of the 8th. Mets down 3-1. 1-2 to Gotay.
It's that Warren Brewster slider right there. If you folks don't remember Warren Brewster with the Phillies, he had a slider like this. It didn't break much, but it just kind of breaks late and bores in on you. I didn't like Warren Brewster's slider.
He had a couple good years with the Phillies.
One-two to Gotay. Fouled it off. Should I check your numbers against Warren?
Well, you can if you like.
What do you think?
I wouldn't know, to be honest with you. You know, Warren was a real kind of he was a battler out there. He never beat himself.
One and two to Gotay. Leading off the bottom of the 8th. And he takes high. So Gotay gives you a pretty good at bat each time, doing it again here. Gotay's had one career at bat against Springer, and he had a hit against him. Pulls it foul.
That ball was way inside. Off the plate. And I guess he's looking in there. He didn't seem to get beat at all.
Fouled away. May I tell you that you could not have hated Warren Brewster's slider that much?
Why?
You hit .435 against him.
How many at bats?
23, 10 hits.
And
1 home run.
You know, isn't that funny though? I never liked hitting off him. And that's the funny part of the game.
Don't you hate that?
He knew he hit him.
No, I did not.
He did. He knew the numbers before he even said it.
2-2 to Gotay.
Oh.
And he foul tipped it into the middle to net. And he goes down to start the bottom of the 8th.
This is just straight power, Ronnie, right? Fastball, plenty of plate.
Yeah,
Just beat him.
Just beat him.
Jose Reyes.
So here's Reyes with 1 out. Jose singled and scored back in the first inning. Since then has flied out and popped up. And again, Spezio comes in very close at third base. Slider in for a strike.
That's that cutter, boy. That's right on the belt. A righty to a lefty, boy, it gets in your hands. Like the best is obviously Mariano Rivera with that pitch.
It's the one Green hit out last night. Reyes turning on it and pulling it foul. And now it's 0-2. Springer ahead 0-2. And Reyes goes down swinging. Back-to-back strikeouts for Russ Springer to start the bottom of the 8th.
Oh, Springer trying to bounce back. That looks like a slider that just backed up, never broke.
Well, that was all set up with the 2 hard sliders on his hands, and he went away with that. This ball sunk, it looks like, huh?
So here's Loduca, who struggles at the plate continue. 0 for 3 tonight, 1 for his last 20. Taking a couple of shots on foul balls behind the plate tonight. Might it be just about that time to drop that appeal and sit out a couple of days. It's a strike to Loduca. I mean, he said he didn't want to miss any of the Philly games. Haven't heard anything about when that appeal might be heard as Jason Isringhausen, who hasn't had a save opportunity in 2 weeks, starts to get ready. One and one to Loduca. Billy Wagner in case there's a save opportunity. Guillermo Mota if there's not. Two and one to Paul. Carlos Beltran hoping for a turn at bat here in the bottom of the 8th. Loduca crushes one to deep left field. Back goes Ludwig, and it's out of here. Paul Loduca with his 4th home run of the year. And the Mets have pulled back to within a run. It's 3-2 St. Louis. Well, before last night, Russ Springer had not allowed a home run this year. He's faced 4 batters in this series and given up 2 bombs.
Well, Loduca doesn't hit very many home runs, but when he does hit them, he tends to pull them. And boy, he got the barrel of the bat out. Look at this swing. Boy, look at the extension of the hands, the perfect balance.
Looked like a home run hitter. Tony La Russa's making a pitching change. Loduca's home run has cut it to a 1-run game with Beltran coming up. Rally caps and glasses. And Tony La Russa will call on his closer, Jason Isringhausen, to try for a 4-out save.
Well, Isringhausen has 14 saves. His 188 saves is the Cardinals' all-time saves leader. And last year, in that great game where Carlos Beltran hit his 300th home run, Carlos Beltran hit a home run, walk-off home run.
That's the only hit Beltran's ever had against Izzy in 8 at-bats. Remember, Isringhausen had hip surgery last year, did not pitch in the postseason, and he's had a tremendous bounce back year. 2 out and nobody on. Loduca's home run has gotten the Mets within a run. And Beltran takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, Isringhausen last year just had a tough year and pitched with that hip for a long time and just had to shut it down. Couldn't go the full season.
And the curveball stays high. 1-1.
Wow. Where's that pitch? He's hot. This is not high.
That's about the only place Ted Barrett could have called it. Otherwise,
I think Ted Barrett was fooled.
The one-time Met, member of Generation K, throws another one, and Beltran grounds it down to Pujols. The flip to Isringhausen, who beats Beltran to the bag, and the inning is over. So Isringhausen gets the final out of the 8th. Loduca's home run gets the Mets close, and now the Mets will try and hold the Cardinals down and keep it a 1-run game. Guillermo Mota on to pitch the top of the 9th.
His last appearance was a couple of days ago, but he's having a great homestand. On this homestand, he's appeared in 3 games, pitched 4 innings, no runs, and a couple of Ks.
He has retired the last 13 batters he's faced. And Ronnie, it all goes back to that game at Yankee Stadium where he started throwing his fastball.
I just think when you throw 94 or 95 miles an hour, what a gift that is to have that much speed. So the more he throws his fastball, 2 things will happen. One, the more effective that change will look. And when he makes a mistake with it, he'll occasionally get away with it instead of it being a hard hit ball.
And let's not forget the suspension that he had, that he wasn't able to work. And, you know, it was kind of a, even though he had some minor league time, it's still kind of a spring training for him. I think he's finally kind of getting into the rhythm.
He'll take on the top of the batting order here in the top of the 9th with So Taguchi to lead off. And then Spezio and Pujols. And the fastball in for a strike. Taguchi's been up 4 times and flied out all 4. One and one to Taguchi. To center field, and that falls in for a base hit for Taguchi. And so the Cardinals, who got an insurance run in the 8th, and that sure paid off for them, looking for more insurance here in the 9th.
Third baseman,
Here's your Panasonic Plasma Replay. Panasonic for the speed of sports. Scott Spezio getting the lead run home with that bank shot off Heilman. They scored it a hit. It probably could have been an error on Valentin, who looked like he had enough time once he got to it. Nonetheless, Spezio's hit put the Cardinals in front. So now Spezio, who had that huge hit off Mota in Game 2 of the NLCS last year, faces Mota again. Spezio's 2 for 4 on the night.
The only problem you have here is that Mota likes to throw a lot of changeup to Spezio, with Delgado holding Taguchi on the bag. Big hole between first and second.
Taguchi has 4 stolen bases in 6 attempts.
By the way, Taguchi's hit now gives him an 18-game hitting streak. So he has done a marvelous job filling in for Jim Edmonds.
Well, that's the beauty of playing on the road when you're a leadoff or first or second or third place hitter. You can get those 5 at bats because you're going to hit in the 9th inning even if you're ahead.
Check swing, and Spezio stopped it. Angel Hernandez the umpire at third, and it's 1-1.
There's the big bopper.
There goes Taguchi. It's in the air to center. Taguchi pulls into second, doesn't know where the ball is. Beltran fires back to first, but wide, and Taguchi's able to get back in. The Mets did a great job of deking Taguchi, but Beltran couldn't take advantage as the throw was a little bit wide.
Well, Carlos knows he has a shot, and normally a very accurate arm here. You see the strength of the arm, but it's off up the line. And Taguchi looked late, and that's why he got fooled there. And did he touch the bag coming back?
I wonder if he did, because it seems like he went past the bag.
I think Valentin is calling for an appeal. No, he has his hand in the air. Maybe not.
If he was, he would be on second base.
No, I guess not. I guess if he did not retouch, the Mets didn't catch it. Let's check out a replay and see.
Okay, there he is on the other side. He's fine because he never never went around the bag.
He was still on the bag when he started back to first.
Yes.
1-0 to Pujols, and he takes a good fastball for a strike. 1-1.
Basically pitching Albert away.
Yeah.
Mota ahead on Pujols, 1-2.
Well, this was a pitch to hit right here. That's a hanging slider right down the pipe. Very rarely, you know, Pujols is not sharp if he missed that one. That was a pitch to hit.
Pujols 1 for 3, a double back in the third. 1-2 pitch, got in on him, struck him out. Pujols strikes out 2 away.
Well, good changeup. This ball just ran in on Pujols. You very rarely see Albert take this kind of swing.
That's almost got hit, completely fooled.
And he knew he'd been had. So here's Encarnacion with 2 out. Taguchi still at first. And Mota fires a strike with a fastball. Encarnacion 2 for 4 tonight. He's driven in a run. He's scored a run. Right in on his fists, and Mota fields it and makes the toss, side retire. That's a great job by Guillermo Mota after the leadoff single by Taguchi. Some masterful pitching. Mets will have Wright, Delgado, and Green to try and get him from a run down in the bottom of the ninth. Oliver Perez and Todd Wellemeyer were the starters tonight. They each pitched very well, but Perez is on the hook in this game.
School's out.
Mets come to bat in the bottom of the ninth, down by a run, with Wright, Delgado, and Green coming up against Jason Isringhausen, who got the final out in the 8th. Izzy has blown only 1 save this year. He's 14 out of 15. Wright has singled and walked tonight, 1 for 2. And David takes a strike.
Well, Pujols way over in the hole, taking that hole between first and second away from David. 1-run lead, not guarding the line.
And the curveball in for a strike, 0-2. Jason Isringhausen with that number 32 on his glove in tribute to his fallen teammate Josh Hancock, who was killed in an auto accident earlier this season. David lays off the pitch in the dirt, and it's 1-2.
Well, I'll tell you, Isringhausen has a good curveball tonight.
Well, he always did.
Yeah, that knuckle curve. It was 12 years ago, and it's hard to believe it's been that long. 12 years ago that Isringhausen burst on the scene for the Mets. Made 14 starts in 1995. Went 9-2 with a 2.81 ERA. But then the injuries and some off-field problems began the next year. He went 6-14, and basically his Mets career had just about come to an end. They moved to the bullpen. They traded him to Oakland, and then he found his career, and he found his curveball there as he strikes out Wright for the first out in the last of the ninth.
Well, Uncle Charlie. And that's got some plate. That's a 12-6 drop right there, Ron.
It might be Lord Charles instead of Uncle Charlie.
I think David was ready for that to break away, and it just stayed inside and broke straight down.
So 1 out and nobody on. Here's Carlos Delgado. Another rough night for Carlos at the plate, 0 for 3. And he's never had much luck against Izzy. Just 2 for 15 against Isringhausen in his career.
What was it? Isringhausen,
Bill
Wilson, and Pulsifer.
Right.
They all came up with such great promise. They all had arm problems. And only Isringhausen has really found success elsewhere. In the air to left field. Ludwig going back, but he has plenty of room. And there are 2 out. So Delgado retired, and the Mets are down to their final out of the night. And who comes to the plate but last night's hero? Sean tonight is 0 for 3, strikeout, double play, ground out. And he is just 1 for 13 against Isringhausen. The Phillies have won their game 11-4 over the Reds. The Braves are about to win theirs. They're up 6-1 in the 9th on the Nationals. So unless the Mets can rally here, they will see their lead sliced. Green takes the curveball for a strike. Last night in the 11th inning, Sean found the range against Russ Springer for a walk-off home run. Hasn't recovered yet from that beating.
Pretty good curve he let him off with, too.
And another one, and he's in a 2-strike hole now. And Isringhausen just with a dastardly curveball tonight.
Could not throw that curveball last year when he had that bad hip, and in fact went to primarily cutters is what he threw last year to try to get by. Now he's got his full repertoire of pitches.
So the Mets are down to their final strike. And Isringhausen right now is looking unbeatable. Fastball just missed. And it's 1-2.
Boy, I just missed. Yeah, it's close, but it did just a couple inches.
Stinnett sitting off the plate there.
After 2 curveballs, though, that ball must have looked like it was going 100 miles an hour.
1-2 to Sean. And that breaking ball in the dirt, and it's 2-2. Isringhausen now 34 years old. Jose Valentin on deck.
One thing about a curveball to a left-hander, thrown so many of them, it's hard to keep throwing that without making one mistake with it.
Two to Green. This is away, so Sean has worked his way back to a full count. Does he have some more magic in his back? Curveball hit the other way toward the left field corner. Slicing. Foul. Well, he got on that curveball and just missed an extra base hit.
Well, that was the hanger right there. That was the one to take a shot with.
It's a nice little battle right here.
Yeah.
Inside ball 4, and the Mets get the tying run aboard. Now that's quite an at-bat for Sean Green. He was down 0-2.
The second baseman, Jose Valentin.
So now the tying run is on base. And here's Jose Valentin. 0 for 3 tonight. He's hit a ball to the fence in right center. He was robbed of a hit on a terrific lunging play by the second baseman Ryan going into shallow center field in the 7th. And Isringhausen stepping off.
No, Isringhausen's a veteran, and Sean Green has stolen some bases this year. He can sneak them.
And the curveball balloons up high. And Izzy, after throwing all those terrific curveballs, now has thrown a couple that he struggled with.
Well, sometimes that third out, the last out, toughest one to get.
Rookie Leday out on deck to bat for Carlos Gomez against this curveballing right-hander. Valentine takes inside, and now Isringhausen behind 2-0. Well, he was ahead 0-2 on Sean Green. He walked him, and now he's 2-0 on Valentine.
Well, fastball situation for a good fastball hitter.
Cardinals 3, Mets 2, last of the night. Valentine bounces it foul, and it's 2-1.
Well, you like that. You know, 2-0 count. He doesn't want to walk the tying run in the scoring position and the go-ahead run. Throws a 2-0 fastball. I love that when a pitcher does that. Just went right after him.
Sean Green has 5 steals on the year. It's hard to envision him running here, though.
We saw Kelly Stinnett with that split finger sign. What that is a sign to throw to first base, which Isringhausen did. Now they'll go back to work on Valentine.
Cutter. Valentine with 3 home runs on the year. There goes Green, and he rips one down the right field line. That's a base hit. Green heads to third, and Carnacion bobbles it. Here comes Green with a tying run. Valentine doubles in the tying run. Now the throw to second, and he's hung up, but he breaks for third, and he makes it safely as Miles couldn't pick up the throw. The Mets have tied it, and they've got the potential winning run at third. Valentine comes through.
Well, it's a cutter meant to be in, and he got it out up and over the plate. And with Green running here, he doesn't score if he's not running. And just a clutch RBI double by Jose Valentine. Green on the run.
Well, great job by Valentine, who had that difficult play on the Spezio comebacker through Aaron Howman. A little redemption here for Jose Valentine.
And a little luck when Kelly Stinnett made that one-hop throw that Miles couldn't pick up. It's an error on Stinnett, allowing Valentine to arrive safely at third. Well, the Mets were down to their final strike. Before Green drew the walk. Now they're a base hit away from winning it with Ricky Leday pinch hitting. And the curveball balloons high again.
Why in the world would, with such a great curveball that Isringhausen has had, throw his third pitch his cutter?
Now, Julio Franco is out on deck to bat for the pitcher. Leday is hitting for Gomez. If I'm the Cardinals, I'm walking Leday here and pitching to Franco. Ties him up inside, and he went around to the cutter. And it's 1-1. What do you think?
Well, I think that with the veteran Isringhausen, what they must be trying to do is they're going to make sure that they're going to throw balls off the plate, see if Leday gets himself out. But sure, you sure would like to have a force in case it's a tough play in the infield.
Billy Wagner getting ready in case there's a 10th inning.
Got to be alive for that curveball in the dirt, does Valentine.
3-3 last of the ninth. And Leday leans out of the way of another cutter, and it's 2-1.
I'm always worried, Gary, about the veteran in this situation. Franco's been up in these situations. I know he's going bad.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to go to a veteran hitter. I'd rather go with a guy that's been up and down the minors and get beat that by him.
But wouldn't Izzy rather pitch to a right-hand batter?
Yeah. Good.
2-1 to Leday. That's a strike, and it's 2-2. That was Leday's pitch to hit.
A cutter that didn't cut, right?
That was like to have that pitch back. Sean Green got a pitch back in last night's game. Maybe Leday will get the same thing.
Mets were down to their final strike before Green worked out the walk. Valentine doubled him home. Now Leday trying to win it. And the curveball high 2-2.
And all of a sudden, the curveball of Isringhausen, it's left him.
Everybody clap your hands.
LaDuca's home run got the Mets close in the 8th. Valentin has doubled home the tying run here in the 9th. 3-2 to Leday with Valentin at third. Walked it. And so Franco will come up. Second walk of the inning for Isringhausen.
You know what happens, guys, when you have a good curveball and it's really snapping off, occasionally a pitcher will think to himself, I want to make this one even better, and staying nice and relaxed and just letting the ball work its way as a curve. You try to hump up and try to throw it a little harder, and then you lose the feel, and then it's gone.
Well, now Isringhausen's throwing 26 pitches in this inning, and he'll take on Franco with the winning run at third.
And Pujols properly playing behind Leday. His run is insignificant. I would play a little bit closer because he's giving him the base.
There goes Leday, and he goes unmolested into second. That'll be defensive indifference because that run means nothing. All it does is take the force away at second.
By holding him a little tighter, not letting him steal, the ball hitting the hole you get the force out. Now it takes that away.
The other thing is, Franco's a guy who can hit the ball over the bag and down the line. 1-0 to Julio, and he lays off, and it's 2-0. If he were to walk, then Reyes would come up with the bases loaded. Isringhausen blowing a save for only the second time this season. Remember, he hasn't had a save opportunity in a couple of weeks, and LaRusso went to him with 2 out in the 8th. He easily retired the first 3 hitters to face him, got ahead of Green 0-2. It looked like a done deal, but the Mets have rallied to tie it, and now trying to win it right here.
Right into Franco's wheelhouse, right, Keith? You know he's going to get something on the outside part of the plate.
I agree.
Franco lays off, and a great pitch by Izzy.
Nice cutter. Jeez, 2-0.
You can't make a more perfect pitch than that. Valentin, the only runner that matters, 90 feet away. Two.
That's a high cutter right there, and swung right through it. It's been a struggle for Julio here.
Hitting 196 on the year. Valentin still all smiles after that game-tying hit. And after escaping from a rundown that could have ended the inning. Two to Franco. Fouled away.
Well, this all started with 2 outs. Sean Green had a fine at bat. Nursed himself a walk with 2 outs. Valentin followed with the RBI double.
Well, if the Mets win this game, Green will not be a hero of the magnitude he was last night, but without him, they wouldn't have had a chance.
Again, after 4 consecutive high curveballs, if he throws a curveball, he's going to try to hold on to it a little longer.
Fastball fouled away. This crowd started getting into this game when LaDuca hit that home run in the 8th, and they've been with it every moment since. 3-3 last in the 9th.
Boy, Keith, Encarnacion pretty shallow in right field, which is really Julio's power field, isn't it?
The gap, and in center field, Taguchi's in shallow also.
Take away the blue. Well, Julio's already seen 6 pitches in this at bat. Isringhausen's about to throw his 33rd pitch since coming on in the 8th. Rocco watches it high, and it's 3-2. A walk would load the bases for Jose Reyes. To second base. Ryan fields it cleanly, and will go to extra innings for the second straight night. Well, the Mets were on the brink of falling to the Cardinals, but they scraped themselves back up off the brink. Green with a walk, and then with a hit and run on, Valentin drills a double to get the tying run home, and we're on to the 10th. Billy Wagner out for the second straight night as the Mets have sent this game on to the 10th.
Oh, Billy Wagner last night with 2 innings of relief, 29 pitches. Usually you're worried about your closer being able to come back from that, but I think Billy Wagner is a different kind of pitcher than he was years ago when it was flat out 100 miles an hour. Now he throws his fastball, his slider. There's a lot of pitching out there, not just throwing.
Struck out 3 last night in his 2 innings of work. One of the 3 he struck out was Ryan Ludwig, who leads off in the 10th. Ludwig 1 for 4. He struck out 3 times tonight. So Oliver Perez is off the hook when he was 1 strike away from being a losing pitcher. What a comeback for the Mets in the bottom of the 9th. And Ludwig takes a slider for a strike. Perez went 6 1/3, allowed 2 runs, 5 hits. Aaron Heilman, an inning and a third, a run on 4 hits. As you look at Brad Thompson in the Cardinal bullpen, Pedro Feliciano got 1 big out in the 8th, and Mota pitched a terrific 9th. Gave up a leadoff single and then was just dominant after that to keep it a 1-run game.
As you see Aaron Miles on deck, it looks like the Mets have the book already on Ludwig and throwing him a lot of high fastballs up in the strike zone. It seems to be the tonic like the Cardinals have been trying to do to Carlos Gomez.
Ludwig's got power. He had 28 home runs in the minor leagues last year playing for Toledo in the Tigers organization.
The Mud Hens.
They've got a new ballpark there. It's supposed to be beautiful because the old one was awful.
Awful. Fastball in there for a call, strike 3. Golden sombrero for Ryan Ludwig.
Well, you got a power pitcher out there with 2 strikes. Don't know how you can take a fastball. How you can look for a slider when you got 2 strikes.
So 1 out and nobody on. And now Aaron Miles, who's 1 for 4, and a hit and run single in the 8th. And he takes a strike. Well, the Mets won in 11 innings last night. They're now 4-2 in extra inning games this year. The Cardinals are also 4-2. Slider misses inside, 1-1.
Well, we're seeing the strength of this Met ball club. It's much like last year. This bullpen now is kind of taking shape with Mota coming back. Just not a weak link.
Big chopper for Reyes. Comes in a step back. Guns down Miles, 2 away. And also a little different scenario than last night. Last night, because La Russa was not ahead in the game, he saved his closer and always had that potential of bringing Izzy in if he got a lead. Now he spent his closer, and the rest of that Cardinal bullpen is not nearly as strong.
Well, Thompson's a pretty fine pitcher, and he's been starting. Now he's been thrown back into the bullpen, and they've got Troy Percival now on the roster.
Just activated today. Wouldn't that be fascinating if Percival wound up in this game? The former dominant closer with the Angels. Kelly Stinnett swings over the slider. Kelly's 0 for 4 tonight. Had a big at bat in the 8th inning. 1st and 3rd and 1 out, and he popped up. One and 1 to closest to net. 96 miles an hour.
Billy's got that outside corner. The righty's wires.
I think Billy likes to work. He gets better when he has more work.
In the air to right center. Beltran over. Side retired. So Wagner making it look easy. A 1-2-3 top of the 10th. And the Mets on the top of the order. Reyes, Loduca, and Beltran in the bottom of the 10th. We go to the bottom of the 10th inning. Mets and Cardinals tied 3-3, and we're here on a game of redemption for Jose Valentin. 1-1 game in the 7th. Valentin couldn't pick up that carom shot off Heilman, and the Cardinals grabbed the lead. But with the Mets down to their final line, it was Valentin who drove home the tying run with his double off Jason Isringhausen, getting Green in to make it 3-3. Never hang your head.
That's absolutely right. And you see some changes here in the Cardinals.
Adam Kennedy in to play second base. Brendan Ryan moves over to short. Brad Thompson comes on to pitch. So Thompson will hit in the 6th hole with Miles coming out of the game. And Kennedy will bat 9th.
Well, that good 1-loss record, 5-3. The swingman, Brad Thompson, has 2 starts and 2 relief outings among his last 4 appearances. Sinker, slider kind of pitcher, throws a lot of strikes.
Top of the batting order, Jose Reyes 1 for 4 tonight. Singled and scored back in the 1st. And Reyes in his career against Brad Thompson 3 for 3. Spezio playing well in at 3rd, and Reyes takes a strike.
This is the 5th time in the game that Jose Reyes has led an inning off. I'm sorry, 3rd time. Excuse me. And that's what you want. You want your leadoff guy there, especially if it's Jose Reyes.
Lays off the changeup, and it's 2-1 to Jose. Right now, he will do anything to get himself on base. Pulls one toward the right side, and Kennedy's got it right into the game, and Kennedy throws out Reyes, and that's the 1st out. So 1 out and nobody on, and here's the home run hitting Paul Loduca, who got the Mets within a run with his 8th inning home run off Russ Springer.
Well, got himself a fastball inner half on a 3-1 ball game. That was in the 8th. And that got the Mets a run closer.
Almost hit the iced coffee.
From Dunkin' Donuts?
You betcha. And he takes a strike from Thompson. The Phillies and Braves have both won their games tonight. Loduca takes outside, 2-1, 1-1. Carlos Beltran on deck. Slider lined to short, right at Ryan, and there are 2 out.
The center fielder.
So 2 out and nobody on, and here's Beltran. Carlos 1 for 3 tonight. Doubled in a run back in the 1st, walked and stole a couple of bases in the 6th. So Thompson's retired the first 2. And Beltran takes wide. Do you think Willie Randolph would consider going with Wagner for 2 innings for a 2nd straight night? He's got Schoenweiss up in the bullpen now.
I think that would be Billy's call. Billy said to Willie, I'm feeling good today.
Beltran grounds it down to Pujols, and Thompson comes in and throws a 1-2-3 bottom of the 10th against the top of the batting order. So we move to the 11th. Billy threw 9 pitches in the 10th inning. We're on to the 11th, tied at 3. Scott Schoenweiss will come on to pitch the 11th.
Schoenweiss very much like Guillermo Mota, throwing the ball very well as of late. And his last is not permitted an earned run in his last 6 outings. Good homestand also. 2 2/3 innings, 1 K, no earned runs.
Pitched a 1-2-3 inning on Sunday against the A's. By the way, the Orioles have beaten the Yankees 3-2. Scott Proctor walked Ramon Hernandez with the bases loaded to force in the winning run in the bottom of the ninth.
Boy, losing to a reeling Baltimore Orioles. All the great expectations the Yankees had after the Mets series at Yankee Stadium. Boy, they just went out west.
Well, I'll tell you, Scott Proctor just has too good of stuff to give it up. I just love the way fastball and slider. Just you know, you never know if it takes a toll on you. All the games he's pitched the last 2 years.
And forget about the AL East. With Cleveland winning tonight, the Yankees are now 8 games back with 5 teams in front of them in the wild card. Here's Brendan Ryan to lead off in the top of the 11th. 2 for 3 and a walk. He's had a very good game tonight. And Ryan takes a strike from Schoenweiss. Remember, you got Adam Kennedy hitting in the 9-hole behind Ryan.
Ryan drove in that third Cardinal run in the 8th. The 2-out single.
Wright guarding the line at third. And Schoenweiss keeps working him inside, 1-1. There's a good fastball on the outside edge, 1-2. There's Adam Kennedy getting ready for his first at bat of the night, and then So Taguchi behind him. Two and 2 to Ryan. Schoenweiss, the 6th Met pitcher of the night. Oliver Perez went 6 1/3, allowed 2 runs and 5 hits. Pitched well, but he was on the hook in this game until the Mets tied it with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th. Fouled away.
This Ryan looks like a little scrappy kind of player, huh?
Yes, he does.
To compare him energy-wise to Eckstein.
When he made that fine defensive play on that blooper back in the, what was it, the 7th or the 8th?
When Valentine hit in the 7th. Punches that one foul and making Schoenweiss work here.
Oh, that got someone in the back or something down the line. I mean, I should be laughing.
Just smoked someone.
Someone wasn't paying attention.
I thought it was a security guy might have got, because it has an orange.
Look at that
on.
face.
Oh, that's
Sweet.
a beautiful baby. Already with the pierced ear, right?
Huge baseball fan. Schoenweiss misses inside. It's 3 and 2. Well, the last thing in the world you want to do is walk Ryan. Of course, didn't we say that back in the 2nd when Perez faced him with 2 out? Well, same thing applies here in the 11th inning. He's worked it full against Schoenweiss. In the air to left field. Back goes Leday. Right back at the wall. And it's out of here. Brendan Ryan with his first major league home run. And it gives the Cardinals a 4-3 lead. Well, Schoenweiss was determined not to walk him. And with good reason. Ryan in 4 minor league seasons hit a total of 6 home runs. And now he has his first in the big leagues, and it gives the Cardinals the lead in the 11th inning.
Fastball right down Broadway. And put a nice swing on it. And the thing is that Schoenweiss was ahead 1-2 and just can't seem to put away the hitter.
Adam Kennedy swings and misses.
There it is. Around thigh high, right down the middle.
And when you don't hit home runs, you don't watch them. You just get on your horse.
It's 5 home runs Schoenweiss has allowed this year, and now Kennedy shoots one up the middle. Reyes with a dive, but he has no play, and Kennedy's got an infield hit.
Well, nice play by Jose, but by the time he got to it, Kennedy runs pretty good. no chance to make the play,
Center
and
fielder, Son
held on
Taguchi.
to the ball. That's a good thing.
So Schoenweiss has given up back-to-back hits. Taguchi is up. Mets will look for the bunt.
You can do two things here. You can bunt and play a conservative, but Taguchi handles the bat well and goes naturally the other way. You can hit and run. I think Tony will probably play it safe here and sacrifice.
Taguchi 1 for 5 tonight. Schoenweiss throws over. Well, let's go back to the question we asked as Joe Smith is up while the Mets were batting in the bottom of the 10th. Wagner for a second inning for the second straight night. He threw 9 pitches in the 10th inning. There goes Kennedy. The pitch is a strike and no chance for LaDuca. Kennedy got a huge jump.
Well, now you have to bunt. This is just a great jump. He went right with the break from the belt, and a howitzer is not going to throw him out.
So now an insurance run in scoring position with nobody out. And the Mets will again look for the bunt from Taguchi. And he takes a strike, and now it's 0-2. Scott Spezio waiting on deck, and now Taguchi will get a little face-to-face with Jose Oquendo, the third base coach.
He's got to advance this runner. I mean, he's in the leadoff position. He's a guy that handles the bat well. This isn't at bat as your leadoff. You give yourself up to get the runner over.
Gets the bunt down. Schoenweiss looks to third, but his play is to first. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Kennedy over to third.
Well, he just got the bunt down, Ron, and right back to it. Took enough off here, and Schoenweiss, he would have had to throw right from the get-go to get him. If there's the slightest bit of hesitation, you got to go to first.
So now the Mets have to bring the infield in, already down by a run. And Scott Spezio, the batter. Spezio, 2 for 5 tonight, has driven in a run and scored a run. And he takes ball 1 from Schoenweiss.
This has been trouble for the Cardinals, getting that sacrifice fly, that runner out there. It's so important. Again, they've left 10 men on base today.
Spezio pops it up. Delgado over toward the stands, but it'll go out of play. 1-1. And obviously a huge batter here. If you can get Spezio, then you can walk Pujols.
And I got to believe you walk Pujols and you bring in Joe Smith to face Encarnacion.
Or you could walk Encarnacion too and just go after Ludwig, who's been vulnerable tonight. Hit hard and right, grabs the line drive, and back to third goes Kennedy. So Schoenweiss gets a king-sized out.
Well, the ball's not hit hard here. Watch David here on your screen. Off the end of the bat are jammed.
First baseman,
nice
Albert
base running
Pujols.
there by Kennedy, not getting doubled up.
So now 2 out, and there's no way in the world that they'll pitch to Pujols. And then the question is, what happens after that? You could walk both guys and go after Ludwig, but that gives you a little margin for error. As a pitcher, would you ever want to have that situation presented to you?
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. I think what's going to happen here is you want to walk Albert Pujols, and Smith comes in for Encarnacion, because the problem being is now you're going to be out there throwing 4 straight balls to 2 hitters, and now you're going to come back with some good stuff.
And you still got...
Well, you could still bring Smith in to face Ludwig.
Okay, yeah, all right.
But the question is, which guy would you rather face?
Well, I just don't think right now Joe Smith's control is just not like it's been earlier in the season. So to put that kind of pressure on the young pitcher, I think, is needless.
I agree with you 100%, Ron.
So there's ball 4 to Pujols. Here comes Willie, and they'll bring Smith in to face Encarnacion. So Schoenweiss giving up the leadoff home run to Brendan Ryan. 6 minor league home runs in 4 seasons. And his first big league home run has given the Cardinals the lead here in the 11th. What a night for Brendan Ryan. And Schoenweiss hears it from the crowd. So Joe Smith will come on and try and keep it a one-run game. We're in the 11th, 4-3 St. Louis. Joe Smith, the 7th Met pitcher of the night.
Well, he appeared in yesterday's ball game, went 2/3 of the inning, gave up a hit, and gave up those 2 walks. So I think that's why you have Smith here with the extra base going up against Juan Encarnacion.
A run is in on the Ryan home run. First and third for Encarnacion, who's 2 for 5 tonight. Drove in the first Cardinal run with a first inning double, and then singled and scored in the 8th. And Smith throws the slider, misses 1-0.
Well, he missed. I thought that was a good choice. If you were watching the game in the bullpen all night long, you know that Encarnacion has been jumping on the first pitch all night long.
Big chopper. Valentin has to wait for it and then boots it, and a run comes home. Second time tonight that Valentin has been unable to handle a ball with a runner at third that has cost the Mets a run. And it's 5-3 St. Louis.
Well, that is a huge run, obviously, for the Cardinals.
The left fielder,
And this
Ryan
is
Ludwig.
so unusual to see from Valentin here. He's got plenty of time and just got a little casual.
Did he take his eye off it just for a second? No, not really.
Nope. And he didn't get casual. He two-handed it. He just flat missed it. It wasn't an exchange. He missed it.
Well, the one in the 7th inning he had and couldn't get cleanly out of his glove. This one he just never had the handle on. It's an error, bringing home a run. And now Ryan Ludwig fouls it off. So after all those machinations, Smith got the ground ball he wanted, and Valentin unable to make the play, and now the Mets are in a 2-run hole. And what an up and down night for Valentin.
Wow.
Couldn't make the play in the 7th, drives home the tying run with 2 out in the 9th, and now the error in the 11th costs the Mets an extra run. And maybe he'll get another chance in the bottom of the inning.
It's just, you know, such a crazy game where you got the sure-handed Valentin who misplayed 2 balls, only gets charged with 1 error. You got the Golden Glover for the Cardinals and Pujols, who made 2 errors last night.
Ludwig fouls it off, and it's 1-2. Ludwig has already struck out 4 times tonight, and Loduca just took another shot.
He got it off the shoulder.
Oh, it's the same spot it got him last night.
That hurts. That hurts.
Boy, I know that it's hard to throw if you have a little extra cushion over there. Might have to do that for the next couple days just to take some of that pressure off that getting hit in the shoulder.
Ice.
Ice, yeah.
Again, after 2 straight extra inning games, maybe it's time to drop that appeal.
Yeah.
And sit out the next couple of days.
Get well.
1-2 to Ludwig, and he dribbles one to third, right charging, gloves, fires, got him, side retired. But the Cardinals, the home run by Ryan, the error by Valentin, 2 runs are in. Brendan Ryan with his first major league home run, giving the Cardinals the lead against Scott Schoenweiss. The Mets will have Wright, Delgado, and Green to try to respond in the bottom of the 11th. We go to the bottom of the 11th at Shea. The Mets 2 runs in arrears. And Brad Thompson, who pitched a 1-2-3 10th, now stands to get the win if he can get the job done in the bottom of the 11th. Same hitters up for the Mets as they had in the bottom of the 9th when they rallied to tie. David Wright 1 for 3 and a walk tonight, and he takes ball 1 from Thompson.
Need base runners.
Delgado and Green to follow. And Thompson behind 2-0. Well, such a different ball game with that second run. That Valentin error. Wright hits it hard, but right at Ryan. And there's the first out in the bottom of the 11th. Don't forget to stay tuned for Matty Aloff, Lee Mazzilli, Kevin Burkhardt. All will be with you after the game on Nissan Post Game Live. Ronnie and Keith will be there too.
Where are you going?
I'll be around. I'll be watching you guys.
We have to do the webcast after
wouldn't
this.
miss it for a second.
Don't think you're going to get out of here early.
Early? Delgado takes a strike.
It's gone and went.
Carlos 0 for 4 tonight. Well, the Mets staged quite a rally in the bottom of the ninth, down to their final strike. Got the game even. Had a chance to win it in the bottom of the ninth. Had the winning run at third, but Jason Isringhausen got Julio Franco to ground out. And now the Mets down to their final 2 outs, down by 2 runs. Delgado rips one down the right field line. That's an extra base hit going into the corner. And the Mets will get the tying run to the plate here in the bottom of the 11th. A 1-out double for Delgado.
Well, the sinker ball pitcher tries to throw a sinker away. A little something off of it, Ronnie, like a change. And got it right down the pipe. Delgado stayed back nicely. Mets are in business.
The right fielder, Sean Green.
So the Green Giant gets another crack at it. Hit the home run to win it in the 11th last night. In the 9th inning tonight, with the Mets down to their final out, fell behind 0-2 against Isringhausen and worked out a walk and then scored the tying run. Randy Flores, the left-hander, and Troy Percival, the right-hander, up in the Cardinal bullpen. Only La Russa on his way to the mound, and he wants the lefty to face Sean Green. So Randy Flores, whose brother Ron pitched here over the weekend for the A's, will come on here to face Green with 1 out in the bottom of the 11th. Mets looking for yet another rally with Green at the plate. Well, Randy Flores, a lefty specialist who hasn't been very tough on lefties this year, comes on for the Cardinals.
Got that high ERA, and for Met fans, take solace. You might have a chance. Randy Flores, 2 successive outings against Kansas City and Oakland. Both times gave up 3 earned runs.
.346 batting average against left-handers, and of course he's brought in to face Sean Green, the tying run at the plate here in the bottom of the 11th.
Well, he's not a hard thrower, Flores, and you just got to keep the ball away from Sean Green here.
Well, the Mets got a couple of runs against his brother, Ron Flores, in the 8th inning on Sunday. They'll see if they can do the same against Randy here. And this has been quite a ball game. Oliver Perez matched up against Todd Wellemeyer, who came out of nowhere to pitch a gem for the Cardinals here tonight. Mets fell behind, rallied late, and now trying to climb uphill again.
Jose Valentin get another chance for redemption.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, if Green can do something here and get aboard, then Valentin waits to follow. Delgado at second after his double with 1 out, and on the roller coaster night for Valentin, he's next. Green 0 for 3 in that crucial walk in the 9th, and he takes the breaking ball strike from Flores.
And outfield playing very deep, no doubles in this situation. Delgado's run means nothing. You do not want the tying run to get in scoring position.
And Green lays off. Stopped the swing in plenty of time. Angel Hernandez agrees, and it's 1-1.
Well, Sean's done a nice job all season long against left-handers of shooting that ball to left field. Looks like Flores is going to pitch him away.
And the fastball misses low, and it's 2-1. Sean hit an opposite field home run against the left-hander Lenny DiNardo last Friday night. The only home run he has against a lefty this year. Takes the fastball for a strike, and it's 2-2. Castro and Easley, the only 2 men left in the dugout as potential pinch hitters.
Well, everything's been away from Sean. I got to believe he's going to drop a hammer on him here.
2-2 to Green. Popped it up. Kennedy, the second baseman, calling for it. And again, the Mets are down to their final out. But they've been here before. And the last time they were, it was this guy who provided the game-tying hit. He's made a couple of miscues in the field that have cost the Mets a couple of runs. And now he's got another chance to redeem himself with 2 out in the bottom of the 11th. Breaking ball in for a strike to Valentine. Valentine 0 for 3 in his career against Flores. Ricky Leday on deck. Valentine, the tying run at the plate in the 5-3 game. And the backdoor breaking ball misses, 1-1.
Yeah, Flores looking for his first save. This is not usually his spot.
Well, Isringhausen tried for a 4-out save tonight, got 3, but couldn't secure the last one. And so Tony La Russa mixing and matching in extra innings. Flores has 2 career saves. Last one was 2 years ago. In the air to right field, that should do it. Encarnacion is there, and the Cardinals win it. So the Mets with a rally in the 9th, didn't have the rally in the 11th, and the Cardinals match 11-inning victories with the Mets and even up the series. Their first win in 5 tries against the Mets this year.
Well, saw it last season. Even though they have 83 wins, world champion St. Louis Cardinals have a lot of resiliency in them, and got an unexpected home run from Brendan Ryan, and they win it.
Well, Brendan Ryan came into the day with 3 career hits. He had 3 hits tonight, including that shocking home run off Scott Schoenweis, and Tony La Russa's team comes up a winner. Here's your Audi game summary. Schoenweis takes the loss. Brad Thompson the win. Flores only his 3rd career save, and Brendan Ryan, the rookie infielder, the hero for the Cardinals, as they win it 5-3. Game 3 of the series tomorrow night. Tom Glavine goes for career win number 297, taking on 0-9 Anthony Reyes. 7 o'clock the game time. Coming up next, it's Nissan Postgame Live with Matt Yaloff, Lee Mazzilli, and Kevin Burkhardt. Quite a ball game here at Shea. An up and down night for Valentine. Drove in the tying run with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th. Couple of miscues in the field cost the Mets. And so did this man, Brendan Ryan, with a game-winning home run off Scott Schoenweis in the 11th inning, and the Cards win 5-3. For Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, and Kevin Burkhardt, I'm Gary Cohen saying so long from Shea.